We're going to open the January 8th, 2025 Select Board meeting. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
Just a discussion about the transfer station when we have the budget. So, but that's all. It's probably in the budget then.
Just remind us when we do the budget hearing again.
Okay.
So I will take a motion to approve the minutes of December 18th.
I'll make the motion.
We have a second.
I'll second.
So do we have any discussion on the minutes, corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none then, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. I'm gonna do correspondence next. So we received the annual report from Northeast Kingdom Broadband. Yes, it goes in the town report. We received a thank you letter to the Wolcott Select Board. I'd like to thank the town of Wolcott for allowing us to have bottle sheds at your site. For the past year, we have collected $5,747.25 worth of bottles and cans. Since we have started 3 years ago, we have raised $67,500 from all our sites. Thank you for your support. Mark LaPuglia, Memorial Area Cancer Network. We have received just a request for donation from Northern Rivers Land Trust. Remind you that they are the ones who have the conservation easement at our forest, and considering the conservation easement on Bear Swamp, we don't really make donations. They could do a petition next year, but I'll pass this around. I've read it. It's a newsletter. It's pretty interesting, and it talks about Mr. Morrison's 286-acre easement up in Wolcott, up on East Hill, and then it talks about our forest easements. So pass that around if people are interested. And we received a request from United Way for a donation. We have our annual 2024 equalization study results from the Vermont Department of Taxes. It's telling us that our common level of appraisal is 67.24%. So that means the values that we're assessing properties in town is at 67.24%. It should be at 100%.
Oh, I thought it was at 73.
Well, that's this common level of appraisal is 67.24%. The coefficient of dispersion is 28.96. It should never go below 20. And this 2024 statewide adjustment is 72.36. I don't know what that adjustment is. That's something new. I'm not as familiar
Yeah,
with
it's
that
something to
anymore.
do with the school. Instead of the 0.67, they go with the 7 something, 723.
So the state is making an adjustment on it. We are in the process of having a reappraisal anyway. The state would have required it with these figures. But we've already signed a contract to begin that. July.
Yep, July 2025.
It'll take a couple of years. And we have our certificate of highway mileage. We haven't changed any of our highway miles, this year. So we can basically just sign it. I'll pass that around after. The signature. And just received a notice of unemployment. Unemployment. Which isn't public notice, so I'll just. Pass this around if you want to look at it. So under comments from the community, Jim wanted to come in. He is on the agenda later on under Flatiron Road dry hydrant repairs, but he wanted to come in and talk about.
You wanted me to, for the last meeting, you had some questions?
Right, so it was brought to our attention that there were holes in the reservoir up at the school and it affected the sprinkler system and we were discussing this $10,000 bill. And I was supposed to investigate that.
So as far as leaks in the tank, it's not anything that I know about. When we tested it this summer, we have a 12-foot long pipe pole. I was just curious on how deep it is. And I put the pipe pole entirely underwater and it still didn't reach the bottom. So it's deeper than 12 feet. Next summer, I'd get I'll have to get a string and like a big weight or something to see how deep it is. You ever see when it was brand new, sir?
Yeah, I think it was able to hold 3,000 gallons.
You know how deep it is though?
It's gotta be pretty close to 15 because it's not very large. I think it's like 8 by 8 by 15, something like that for 3,000.
But when we pumped it, we flowed water for 20 minutes out of the deck gun, and we still didn't run out of water when it flowed it this summer. So, as far as I know, it's in good shape. And what was the second question?
That was the main one, and it was brought to our attention that it was used for the sprinkler system, but you
Okay.
told me that was coming off the well.
Sprinkler is off the domestic water and there's one head above the boiler. It's not ran from that tank.
So they switched it because it used to be the sprinkler system ran off that tank.
Yeah.
Used to have a pump.
It's easy.
Did the sprinkler system malfunction?
No,
Okay.
we needed to find out because the town of Wolcott moved and raised Flatiron Road onto school property and it affected where the fire hydrant, they hook up for the dry hydrant there. They can't access it now. And so we met with the engineer, had a hydraulic study done and came up with an alternative of adding some pipes on so that they can hook on easier. Otherwise, they're gonna be down in a ditch. They can't get down there. It's full of snow. Then,
So the main thing,
yeah,
sorry, all right, go finish it.
so we need to, we created the problem by fixing the road.
Yeah.
It's washed out. You need to work with the fire department so they can access the hydrant because it's part of the Act 250 permit.
Are you saying we got a bill for 10 grand?
No, we have a bill here because, yeah, they ordered the parts.
Oh, it's an estimate, okay. I was like, when did we fix this?
We haven't.
Okay.
I just brought it to the select board's attention last meeting that this was happening. We had questions.
So when we finish pumping up the hill to fill the tank and test it and operate it, there is like 3 feet of water from where the manhole is to where the top of the pipe is in the tank. So that 3 feet of water goes back down the hill after we finish. And if we were simply to put an elbow at the manifold down there, the water, it would stay in there and it would freeze. And we wouldn't be able to use it. So the reason why we're getting the estimate for those hydrants is when you close them, when you're done using them, it drains all the water underground and it wouldn't freeze. And it would be up high enough so it wouldn't be buried under the snow and the ice.
What size would the connections be, Jim? 4 inch?
So the steamer on a hydrant is 4.5.
So is this something we can ask FEMA for or no?
No, FEMA's done. It's
Okay.
closed.
Okay.
It's not, it wasn't damaged.
Oh, okay. Is there any grants out there for this?
I don't know if you, how quickly do you have to have this rectified? Because
Sooner the better.
Yeah, it's part of Act 250 permit for the school. If it catches on fire, that's. They use it.
So flowing through the manifold, pumping with a truck, we can pump like 700 gallons a minute. And in order to get that same flow out of a tanker shuttle, you would need 14 tankers. So we've never had a fire with 14 tankers. So it's pretty important.
and I think there's time to write for a grant at that point.
We don't even know what kind of grant would, they don't just have grants for specific crop. We're just gonna have to find it.
You do have grants for putting in tri-hydrants,
Right.
but I don't know about putting in a hydrant of that style. Most of them are for pumping out of ponds or out of the river.
Well, to fix something that was working before we helped
Right.
it.
Right.
How many estimates did you get?
The one, I can get a second if you would
For
like.
that price, I think we have to get 2 or put it out. I mean, it's under 10. It's 10 or under.
It's $92 over 10,000.
Okay, so we can do.
Well, if you take the tax amount out, it's $9,432.
Oh, yeah, because we're tax exempt.
And it did. But is
You
this,
only need 2.
does this mean you have to cut the pipe to put them in, Jim?
So you would take, there's the manifold connection for the threading piece. You'd have to take that off, and then there's a short adapter to go from the 8-bolt pattern to the 6-bolt pattern. And it's not too big of a deal.
Just the digging to get it so it will drain underground. That's about it. Which our guys could probably do with a backhoe or. bucket.
Well, if you put in like crushed stone around the hydrant, it'll drain into the crushed stone, yeah.
Jim, yeah, if it's a purchase is $5,000 to $9,999, require
Okay.
quotations or rates from at least 2 qualified.
I'll get another one.
But as it stands right now, the tank system is functional. I mean, the system itself works. And the sprinkler coming off the well, that's functioning as well.
Yes.
Perfect. I think that was for me, those were the bigger two questions, making sure that everything worked.
This would be just for, if you had a bigger fire, then sprinkler heads could take care of.
Yeah.
So why don't you get another quote to Michelle? We have from now until June 30th to figure out how we're gonna pay for it. But I don't feel like we should be waiting around.
And whoever got the bid, would they be able to fix it immediately, even in this cold weather?
As soon as we get the parts, yeah.
With the
Well,
town-
they fix it. Are you gonna contract it out or are you gonna do it?
I'll look into it.
Can the town help at all?
Because that'd be an added cost, so we just need to know.
Right, I'm gonna have to ask a couple people.
Okay. We'll just get that information to Michelle.
Will do.
Hopefully on the 15th, we can, deal with it. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
anything else for us?
Hopefully I could answer all the questions.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to select board final review of our budget. You should have your budgets in front of you, and then with one, Michael, does everyone have a copy of Michael's? Well, then I'm gonna let him go through. He's gone through and made some comments on the budget. First of all, though, do you know where we stand? So we know as we go through here and start pulling things apart and making reductions, what we're looking at.
8.5% increase. But I think Michael was able to get it down.
With the suggestions and comments and things, also hoping that my math is right. I've got a 5.8.
Primarily it was in the increase in insurance because we have another employee taking it as well as the cost of increases in insurance.
And the fund balance won't be here till Friday. They had a preliminary one and then I said, well, what about this? And so that went out the door. So now we're back to Friday. As soon as I get it, I'll send it to you guys.
So we still could finalize it on the 15th.
Yes.
So basically, from the budget we were presented, we need to cut it 5%, 5 cents.
Yeah, Mike came, what, to 5.8, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would like it at 3.
We always have to keep it at 3 if you ever want to grow for improvements, because the costs always get higher. And we consider growing it to 4% and then maybe 4.5 next year. We just incremental so that you can start fixing these things.
I guess it depends case by case. I wouldn't want to just say that. I mean, it's hard enough every year and keep increasing it, you know.
Would you go 3.5? And then you would only have to cut 5%.
Well, let's see where we go. I mean, some things are necessary and like next year, we're not gonna have the fire truck payment, which is huge. And
But we will have another. But that comes out of equipment. Under appropriations. You have the athletic association asking for $2,000.
Let's just go, not like pick and choose, let's.
Oh, okay, well, that's at the very beginning, so. It's like. Appropriations.
Hard copy of this.
I have a black and white one that's here that I printed at home. It's not Michael's, but you can have this one.
Thank you, just give me a chance.
This one, as long as you know it's a draft.
Yes, right, I sat closer, perhaps I'd see that.
Yes, it is me.
I know that they are asking for money for all the flood stuff and everything, and they're replacing equipment and everything, so if they're doing that through that, couldn't we cut that to 1?
Athletic or the rec? I mean, it's the.
Athletic Association appropriations.
But would that allow them to get uniforms and equipment?
In my understanding from last year, because this is just my second time through. He was just, or somebody was just paying for it, Flint was just paying for it out of pocket, whatever he was short, because they weren't.
But Flint never asked for his money. And I'm like, why are we budgeting something that doesn't get used? That's the other.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. One of the notes that I had made lower down too was like wondered. I know the transfer station has turned around. I didn't know if the transfer station could make some gesture towards the town in the name of the athletic or the rec department or somebody saying, here's $5,000. Buy the kids uniforms or something and maybe put a little Wolcott transfer logo on it or something.
That is something the select board could decide to do, yeah. Because it's really not taxpayers' money, so they can do whatever they want.
You know, while I mean, I do want to be saving money there. And be prepared for if we have any staff turnover or. Eventually, it'd be nice to get power up there, but.
That's a 10-year dream.
But it's
This is how we were making a progress.
So I don't have anything written, that's why I like them to bring something in writing, their budget and stuff.
Yeah, did they even come? I don't even know.
So it didn't show up.
Change. Percent change.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a note that I will actually, talking to him, reach out and see if he can live with 1,000.
He is having a box delivered sometime next week. That the town will.
I hope so, because I have to write for an extension to FEMA, because he hasn't finished that project.
That's right.
I found out today.
He's just getting on top of it apparently.
I thought that, he was having it delivered yesterday.
Next week. But he just wanted to make sure somebody would be here with a check for him.
All right, so you can put down that I will do that. I'll find out and come back and find out. Cemetery, that's your mowing bid,
That's exactly it.
and you don't have any money, is you making any
Well,
money?
we are about 200. If you wanted to cut it down to 11 and 7, that would be fine. I get $200 a month in interest.
Yes, before when it was high because we were getting $23 a month.
Had me lock into this long-term thing when it was low. I would love to get it out and turn it around, but I got 2 more years. Yeah,
So the cemetery could live with what?
11.7. I just need to get them out there to sell some lots, man. Since we went to 500, nowhere.
Just not trying, huh?
No, people are dying, but they're sitting on mantles now. in their little urn. I'm serious.
It's warmer.
And cheap.
You take them to holidays and stuff.
My nephew,
I do.
his house, his wife is sitting on the mantle. I was like, I'm not coming here.
So the salary for animal control, does that have 3% in there?
No, because he just started. I did not include 3%.
So it's the same as last year.
Yeah. But I could put it up 3% if you'd like.
Leave it where it is.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
I
this
need-
month's like now that does not work. It evens out, you
It's
know.
about one call a month right now.
Yeah.
You take until about June, July, that's when you start getting calls.
When they start running deer.
No, I'm going to call him April 2nd and tell him to call those people. I'm gonna put him to work.
And we've also got that line item for mileage in this year, which we haven't had.
Right. So that's in, that's arranged already. Dean just never took it.
And those kennel costs are accurate. That's what that contract was.
The contract is $5,000 and then you have to pay the $25 a day. But that we've tried to recoup from the people, but we've already had unclaimed animal boarding expenses this year because Dean actually pulled out of his own pocket. He paid for a couple of them out of his own pocket because he just left them there for like 3 weeks and we can only leave them there 7 days. And 10 days, and then we go to NCAL. Justice.
Doesn't look like there's anything there we can cut.
So Mike, were you on the forest committee? You mentioned that because they have their money. They have 37,000. That maybe they don't need a budget in here.
I was merely pointing out that so far on their year to date, they haven't spent anything from the 3,000 we gave them last year. They're asking for a little bit more this year and they had the endowment.
I know they just bought, they're having signs made because they're having a problem with the trail that they just created. It goes up to the school with 4-wheelers going up through there. I know that.
Yeah, they haven't submitted that to me yet.
What about in debt, interest on that other flood zone, loan? $1 million.
Well, FEMA's supposed to be paying for that, so that shouldn't be budgeted, should it? Because I'm trying to,
But they only pay, I thought the interest until it's obligated or something.
right, but we didn't take anything until, the first time I took was Town Hill and that was obligated.
Not after, before.
Can't take the loan until after it's obligated?
No, the FEMA will only pay interest
Yes, but it was obligated.
until it's obligated.
Yeah.
After it's obligated, they don't.
What? I
Yeah,
thought it was the opposite.
I don't believe so, no.
Once it's obligated and then they give us permission to do it and then we pay them and then we wait for our money. That is the time where they pay the interest. That's what I read. I'll check it out.
Yeah, because also like, have we paid off some of that from the money that we've got? So that interest that we haven't paid off, and we've gotten the money, that's, somebody's got to pay that.
You've been funding some of it, the 2024, but I can put some down on it, absolutely. Especially since all the projects for 2024 that are going, have been done, that are going to be done until the next section. And we might start getting some money next July. So yeah, I'll pay off.
How much, did the flood of 24 come in at?
66. Did we spent so far? No, how much is the total we're supposed to get?
The damages come in, huh,
That hasn't.
from the damage report?
No, that's just very general.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't even know. I don't think it's very accurate. Because all the expenses were coming in later, so. He doesn't, it doesn't matter because he said that can change all the time as we keep adding more inputs and everything.
Well, it'd be good to know a ballpark.
Got
Doesn't have to be accurate, but.
The number that sticks in my head when we were talking about it a few meetings ago was like 1.8, because 23 was 2.2 or something. And 24 was just slightly under that.
That was pretty inflated, but
Yeah.
I mean, what we're coming in now, we haven't done the 5 projects, but what we're coming in now is something like 280 or something. For bills, we pulled in.
That they've seen.
Yeah.
But you have 5 projects still out there, and isn't that 500,000?
No, well, I don't think they're gonna be that big.
Okay, so maybe only $1 million on this.
I think it'll be under $1 million, yeah. I think if I recall, we had estimated at approximately a 1 million, but I put in pretty high. I mean, it usually looks like you were throwing numbers out.
Okay, elections look good to me. If anyone else has any comments, I mean, it's bare bones.
Yeah, I went bare bones. We don't need the tabulator for town meeting.
In here.
Yeah.
Emergency management,
This is what what Jim Roberts submitted. He said, keep it the same. He hasn't used anything though.
You mean Steve Prince?
Secrets, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah. And he just gets paid $250, but the generator's in there about, and since we've done everything, it worked today. It came on when they came back from the thing.
So we got
It was a little rough, but it was probably because there was a lot of snow on it.
about 300 and then 20, we have about 25, 20.
We're gonna go over budget this year, this no doubt.
what about next year? Because we had it fixed, do we need to spend 1,000? What's the?
No, I think, I would like to get a quote from the farmyard about how they will maintenance it once a year. I bet it'd only be about 500, but we should contact them.
All right, so that, Belinda will, or
Yeah.
Michelle will give us a quote for what yearly maintenance on that is.
Right, because I don't want to have Brookside back or whatever they're called. Where are we at?
Forest fire,
He said,
forest fire warden.
Yeah, I stiffed. I'm only paid him $850, the two of them this year. I stiffed him $100. I'm gonna give him 100 more for pointing it out to me. Well, that check was not as much as I thought it would be. I was like, okay. When you get to health, I have a suggestion.
did we decide anything on the forest committee?
No, we're just there now.
The only thing I saw there, again, they haven't touched a lot of the money that we've given them. And the increase between 3,000 and 35, they talked about website development, but it looks like we're under contract with Bradley
Yeah.
for 4,000 a year. I think that it would behoove us to utilize that.
Well, I've told them 2 years in a row that.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll take that out and, they can use Bradley services.
Mm-hmm. We're paying for it anyhow. Why are they asking for more when they have the 7 grand for the trail stuff?
7 grand.
So when we bought the forest,
It was 37.
right, but the 7 grand is in a checking account, the board said that they would need access to do the trails and stuff. The 30 grand is set in a CD for a certain amount of months.
Right. Well, because they're getting ready to develop more trails and so forth, they have to contract and so forth. It's kind of like the money that the cemetery has. It's kind of like an endowment where you should be just using a little bit or the interest of it. I do agree that the town shouldn't be adding a lot to it.
So do you think they could go forward like 1,500?
It's hard to tell because they, we just took ownership this fall. So they haven't really done anything.
Right.
There are some maintenance stuff they have to do. There's a dam up there that they have to maintain. There's brush hogging. There's some things that they do, like these hand tools and things like that, signage, yes. This grand opening event, that will be just one time. I don't know, I think we probably could cut some of it.
Maybe talk to Gordon and see.
You suggest we cut it?
If we pulled the one-time fee, the grand opening thing, that puts them in a good position as far as budgeting next season, right? They still will be able to ask for, I would think if we brought it down to 2, I mean, given that they've got some from last year.
So you're thinking take 500 out of the speaker and public event?
Well, we're definitely taking the website development out because they can
Right.
utilize Bradley for that. It's been 2 years now and I've been keep telling them that and they haven't done anything with it.
The thing I see with the hand tools, unless you've got a special place you're gonna have them and someone sign them out, they're just gonna walk away.
Well, you still need them regardless. They walk away every friggin' week at the transfer station.
Tell me about it.
They might be able to share some space maybe with the rec department with the shed that's going to the
Yeah.
bus barn.
Or the town shed
We're
here.
gonna take the
know,
the
those
public,
signs out.
the grand opening out and ask them to take that out of their endowment. Is what we're doing, and we're getting rid of the website development.
Are you, so you're dropping speakers and public events to 500, or is that going to 0?
0,
Are we just getting rid of that column then?
yes. Well, this is our draft suggestions. I mean, we can come back, you can make a note. We're just gonna. I'm gonna reach out to him and Gordon and ask him if he couldn't take it out.
No, you down to your 2,000.
So the library went down, but I sent a note in yours, Michael, that you didn't think their seat was.
But Belinda gave me
I
the
fixed
right,
it.
you gave me the right information.
Yeah.
It still shows us being at 34% of our budget, and we're 52% of the way through the year.
Yeah, we're 1,800, I think is a little high, but
I do feel a little bit like I'm pinching pennies at this point, but
Well, that's what we have to do.
if 34%. Maybe if
I think we should make it about 1,200.
15.
15 sounds better, just
Okay.
in case.
It's a much different winter this year.
Yeah.
Did they ask for another 12? Or did they go down? On their appropriation?
I have
No, they asked for 11. It
Oh,
went
so
down.
we were down 1,000. Oh, that's good.
Is that for like library content? What's in the books? Books.
Equipment, website, database, postage programs, and the phone.
They pay for their own phone. That's the only utility we don't pay for. If we, for their own phone and internet.
If they can get more library book transfers rather than buying books.
Which I agree with, because there's no more storage of it. It's to the rafters.
Right, someone said they wanted to talk about the health department.
So, Bernard will be moving out of town in March. And we have Michelle. So I don't think we need a health department.
Works 30 hours a week.
I know. I
30 hours a week.
think that this could be brought in-house. I'll be honest. I mean, there's not that much call. And we usually get the complaints first, and then we refer them to Bernard. And most of the time, it ends up being nothing.
There were a couple of calls where you had to actually go out. I don't have the experience to know what I'm looking at, but
I'll go out. I'm
Okay.
fine with that. I've gone out before as health officer. I did most of his paperwork before. I think we have to do the paperwork. I think this is a hard job for anybody just coming off the street unless they have some background in previous towns or whatever.
Well, and what's the job description specifically, right? Wastewater is done at a state level. You have to have a local
But if you
inspection.
get a complaint about wastewater on top of the ground.
It's usually about renters,
Yep.
or it has to do with failed systems.
And garbage, that's it.
And there are rules. You work through the Vermont Health Department. I
Yeah.
mean, it's,
And there's a Morrisville office that I think Bernard relied
you
upon.
do some water testing.
Here in the building, in the school, but the school does their own now, so it's just here in the library, in the town hall, if you have to.
I just would hate to see that go away entirely.
But if it goes away, it falls on us.
Right.
I'm not saying, I mean, you could still put it here, but put a 0. I mean, or you could even leave it there, but have somebody in house do it. So in other words, it'd only be if they work the hours. You know what I'm saying?
Right. My guess, what I was kind of thinking is cut it to like 500. And then. Total. Yes.
Yeah, 500 and 100 for mileage.
Yeah, however you want
I'm
to.
sorry, but we're not gonna travel as much as Bernard. We just aren't.
And then have it absorbed through some other position within town.
Yes.
so you're saying keep 100 for mileage and then drop to 400 at the top and keep it a total of 500?
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that would work with.
Yeah.
With me.
Because I mean, like Morrisville isn't zoning administrator also the health officer, so some of these jobs in other towns have been combined.
We probably want a new zoning administrator soon anyway.
Oh, yeah, I don't think Don wants this health officer.
Is that really fun?
Yeah, but that's no reason to stop. I just saw him on 3 frames of scaffolding painting your house 2 months ago. He's fit as a fiddle.
Right, we're on the highway.
Oh, please skip that and go to the next one. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. This is a headache.
All right, do you want to go through your things, Michael? Because they don't line up. I
Yeah.
tried to. So maybe if you could
So
help us through this.
the things that I saw, labor, we can't do anything with. Temp labor, we could cut it, I suppose, especially because we've added that well, that's only for this year.
Have we used temp labor?
Yeah, he uses temp labor for, mowing, does he use it for,
No.
no? Not for, tree
Temp
trimming.
labor was, at one time with Lucian. I don't think we use it anymore.
There was,
Oh, the temp labor I have in this year was Bob. $73.20.
So we can,
there was,
Take that $2,000.
there was a time when Dad was filling in, and I think that was,
Yes.
I think that's why that line item was there.
But now we have Reno, so.
Yeah.
if he stays in.
Yeah, if we do it again next year, yeah. So anyway, I didn't do anything with that. Insurance is another huge bill to swallow, nothing we can do there. Uniforms were a lot, bill 27. Telephone expense, which has been my new goal in life, is to get consolidated out of this town.
Yeah, and a better system within this building. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know,
It was down today. We had quite a few problems and.
You know, I
finally
don't-
got it.
For that kind
I
of
don't
thing,
know.
you just pay everybody's cell phone.
Yeah.
Just pay, pay for the server.
And,
Not buy them a phone, but pay for the server.
and we're jumping around a little bit, and I hate to do that, but you know, we're paying 1,400 for Starlink. Does Starlink have the capability to run this building? Could we put the router modem in bypass mode and let that run the switches here? I don't know.
The only thing with Starlink is it doesn't do a static IP address,
Yeah, we know.
which is required for the server, which I think that server
My
is
land records.
eventually going to be obsolete.
Well, how much would it be if you just had the line to your land records? What's a basic, the church, if you just had.
Probably about what we pay for my
Is
phone
there
right now.
internet that you need on your land?
Yes.
So the church just says internet, it's $57 a month, 44 cents. That's all we pay for internet.
Right, but we have to still have our phones. I mean, I don't mean to be, I mean, we gonna set us up as a cell phone place?
You could set the phone under a voice over IP system.
Yeah.
Starlink is, I don't know if I would depend on it.
Okay. Well, see, that was when we got there, I was gonna ask the question whether or not you thought Starlink was up to the task. If it's not, then we're stuck. But
It's,
The church has something, it's $5.63 a month, a phone,
How much juice?
probably a voice over IP phone, like you can set,
probably, and it's,
I mean, you can set up they've
This
gone
is-
away from it, but Google Voice had a piece of hardware you could buy and you had phone for free. I actually still run it in my own phone. But they've stopped, supporting that hardware, so at some point that's not gonna work anymore. There are services like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Uma.
yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Uma.
There's Vonage is an old relic of a company that did it. Magic Jack, we've heard of services like that. It's a phone line that runs through the internet and you can hook a regular old wall mounted telephone to it. And they're usually only a few dollars a month, but it takes a little bit of knowledge to troubleshoot. There's no phone company to call when the phone's not working, so these are all things to
Well,
consider.
the server's not, I mean, the land records are not on the server. It's regular, well, it is because it's, but it's on the website, so they could access it there. So that's not a problem. we could leave the one line, the 2746, and put the internet on that for, the land records.
So the
But
land
how do
records,
you-
the land
Can
records
you
are
connect a
hosted,
server to the,
the land
Starlink?
records are hosted on the computer here, right? So people have to dial into this,
no,
connect into this computer.
no,
They're
it's on
hosted
the
in-
cloud,
they're in
it's
the
on the
cloud now?
website.
It's on a.
Yeah, so you don't need that internet anymore. That was really the only reason. The rest of the building, I would be comfortable running internet
I thought that you
through
couldn't run.
Starlink.
You
But
couldn't run
phone
them
lines, I
on
don't know.
Starlink.
You can.
Jump yet. What's, anybody have, this is probably a Bruce Wheeler question, but is there a known timeline on when fiber is gonna come to this side of Wolcott?
2029. That's the last thing I heard.
So I think Starlink's your answer for
But
now.
the server can be on Starlink and still be a firewall?
The land records,
No, the rest of the system. We're all networked here.
right?
The land records are on a whole different,
I mean, they'd be on the same quality firewall that you can get. I mean, it can be done. The firewall can be done through Starlink, the same as it could be on your DSL.
Probably nothing we're gonna get to the bottom of tonight. I just, looking at these two pieces of paper in front of me, we've got 2,200 phone internet for the library and 14 in telephone for the town garage. That's insane. That's insanity. That's insanity. And that doesn't even touch this building.
this one's huge.
The 1,400 of a month is just about average right now for a landline.
I think that we should be exploring options to get away from that, whatever, I mean, I don't know what
I mean,
makes
if
this,
you-
but.
Like Michelle said, if we were to pay a certain amount for them to use their cell phones, because most people are still calling here if they got issues.
Well, they call the garage, but they can never reach them.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but it'd still be a good fail safe for them to call you, so they're not bothering them while they're working.
Well, most of the time they leave messages and we say they work from 6 to 2. But, they are out on the road. But if you can't, if you have an emergency, you can call here until 4. And then after that, you got to call the sheriff's department.
Yeah, I almost would be an advocate of getting rid of the phone over there and letting this office be.
Be the main base.
And I don't see any reason to pay anything towards their cell phones. We have the radios, which we cover everywhere in town.
But what if he's calling for parks and stuff like
I
that?
don't think I got rid of the radios.
No,
Oh, no, we have to read.
No.
That's how I reach it sometimes.
if they're not somewhere up in North Wolcott.
We do call Dylan's cell phone anyhow, so we are using it.
That's what I was,
Them anyway, I
Yeah.
do it all the time.
yeah. And again, not trying to take advantage of their good graces, but if they're willing to use their phones, it's a convenience thing for them as well.
I don't know if anybody who pays per text anymore. I think it's just.
It's all.
It's unlimited.
But just. Yeah,
Yeah, you could get rid of it, I mean.
But I wouldn't want the public, I don't give out my cell phone number to everybody.
no, the public,
No.
as far as the public is concerned, you have a highway department problem, you call town clerk or the select board.
They do.
The assistant is.
Let her be the mediator so they don't, like I said, what's the sense? You're paying them pretty good money. Why would you want them to stand there for an hour?
So how much are we paying for them, for their phone, not their internet? You'd have to break it out because there's still need internet for their.
Oh, I have it together, so I have to break it up.
You know what one of their bills is?
Well, this year alone, through December, we paid $694.98. I would say, I know the internet here is expensive, because we also have the free Wi-Fi and we also have the one over at the town hall, the Wi-Fi.
Is that Wi-Fi, is that what runs the AT&T cell service as well?
It's a little box thing on there or something. I can tell you now, I can get service in Wolcott almost anywhere now, except the transfer station, which is weird.
My house.
Or in the middle of the valley in North Wolcott.
Sylvia walks around like this when he has to call me, trying to find a signal.
Yeah, there are plenty of places that still don't have it. Consolidated. Looking through the orders you sent earlier.
Correct,
Yeah.
that's what I was looking for.
Town clerks. Yeah, the problem I have is I won't know what.
You can look at the numbers up in the corner. Theirs is 3353. We took off, Michelle's phone and it didn't go down much, but it did go down.
I think it was gonna be 800 a year they quoted.
I think we pay here 294 or something a month,
What's the number over there?
3353.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm paying about 90 a month, but that includes if you got to work on it too.
I pay $194. Phone and internet.
That's why you gotta get Starlink.
Yeah, so we've got consolidated communications as a line item at 8951. We have long distance at 978 and consolidated internet at 40. For a sum total of 139.44 a month.
I was gonna say theirs is a lot less than ours, but.
So if you were to just say
So it's
40
about-
times 12,
Well, it would go from 140. If we got rid of the phone and just did internet, I would assume that they would cut us a deal somewhere in the 50s. So we could theoretically be down. Do you have consolidated links?
Yes,
What do you pay for your internet, if you don't mind?
internet only is about 65 bucks.
So we could cut that bill in half. And leave them internet and just do away with phones.
So that leaves us. How much were you thinking of paying them to use their phone? That's what I'm getting at, to see if it's worth it.
Oh, I wasn't going to.
Oh,
I was just gonna take their landline away.
just take the landline away because Michelle should be the intermediate.
I wouldn't do that. This hadn't occurred to me earlier. I wouldn't do that until I had a chance to check with them to make sure that that was something they were gonna be all right with, but.
In the summer, I am always the intermediary. People always email or call here, but in the winter, I don't know how many calls they get.
I don't know why the highway has office supplies.
You need paper.
I give them
Using
everything.
a printer, paper card,
I give them everything.
they even give them toilet paper.
Yeah.
Easier just to have the office supplies come from here to start with.
This is even budgeted, that's why
Why, well, they spent 0.
they did. It's like, take that out.
So for now, if we left the telephone alone, your electric bill, you're 16% under for your year to date.
Yeah, I think you've got to cut that electric bill. I think this is I think it went up when we had all the cleaning done from the flood and we were like, but now we don't have that. Because they ran fans, I mean, there was huge bills coming from
You have the
that.
new fixtures.
Oh, and they have new fixtures too, so that should be less.
Yeah.
So cut that to what?
My
Wait a
suggestion
minute,
is
we're going too fast. What are you taking out?
the electric bill over there.
Yeah,
My suggestion,
38, maybe 28,
32.
32?
that was the number that stuck in my head.
Okay.
Are you cutting the phone to half?
For now, I was leaving it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
might be a
conversation.
good chunk of the year to go through and find the ways to do the savings that you want. It might take some time.
Yeah.
You don't want to just do that and make a mistake.
Yeah, no, but, consolidating the amount of money we pay consolidated is absurd and.
They're hanging on to ancient technology, right? So.
And do we have a contract with them or can we get,
As not, they're the only people realistically around here for business, so.
I know, is there a contract or can we negotiate something new? Because
You can try.
Yeah, I
when I
don't
was
believe
at
there's,
Circus, I was able to get internet and all the costs down by getting into a new contract.
yeah, I don't believe it's a contract. I don't know. I don't
But you
believe it is.
can maybe enter a contract, I'm not sure.
Be worth a phone call, I suppose. So if we bring their electric down to 32, their diesel, gas, heating oil, they're on track to spend around 40. Plus we still have 16 in last year's fund balance.
We do.
I would hope to leave that at 40, but if we needed to make some hard choices, I suppose we could go a little under and plan on pulling out of the fund balance.
So 40.
Yeah. I left Dylan's 3,000 for signs and cones that he lost during the flood.
So my question is this, why, if you lost it in the flood, why wasn't it asked for FEMA? And number two, DLTC has grants that will buy them that stuff.
DLCT buys you cones.
You can apply for these grants and that, safety grants, yeah.
But we just declined one because of the way it was written. We
Well, it was $9,700 for things that we'd already had.
couldn't transfer it to anything else. I don't know if it's a similar grant, but
But we've gotten some.
Was it the same grant? Usually the fire department does it and they get all their cones and stuff from it. Why can't we?
Point out something too. I asked Dylan and the road crew 3 times, because I got calls from Pampac up on, Brook Road. You go up and get those things, the barrels and everything out of the way. They never went and got them. I finally had to have Bob go and get them. So are we leaving things and just not returning to pick them up and then have to replace them? That is a question.
Was there an inventory to begin with to know what we lost so we could bill it to FEMA?
I never know.
You weren't here, so.
Yeah. No, but I don't think that's an inventory.
But I think we need to get one, because if we have a single audit next year, I'm going to need that.
Well, handy, Dylan has 20 hours a week on his hands.
That's
you 5 minutes.
20 hours, but.
So you take them 5 minutes to go.
6 cones. Yeah, no.
They're spread out too, like there's some in the bus barn. We found some signs. They didn't know their packets. So
I'm sure the sand one is in there too. I cannot believe that someone would have stolen.
he said it disappeared off the post.
So did John to go rapid first time.
And I bought it, it was because we had to move the public sand pile.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it said public sand.
Yes, and it was right near the McCall's property when they moved it over to the,
Almost
Bus barn.
right away.
And it fell down when it flooded.
it
And
did,
it lay there, and it lay there.
nobody picked it up and
And he
it
said
said,
public, Dylan said to make it say residents, winter sand.
Yeah, something like that. That's what it said.
So I didn't touch the sign light item. I left it. I had the same question as to why
yeah.
it wasn't a FEMA expense, but I left it alone anyway. Supplies, they're at 3136 as of the December 18th.
I know.
You know, it's supplies, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he seems to put everything in that category, I'm sorry.
Shots, and spare parts. And I'm not sure what goes in it, but I know that I wouldn't dare lower it from 35.
Yeah.
Equipment replacement fund,
So you increased it to 35. It's at 25 now.
the red line I had on the original one was 35. I think this was the budget they proposed.
No, I had it at 25.
Okay.
It was 25. This year it is,
It's always gone over.
yeah.
It probably should be at 35. Really.
But he just pulled it from another.
Um,
Big bag.
parts and repair, they're already over their 45.
Yeah, in the equipment fund, that 120, that's a calculated number. That's what we're.
Well, we have 115 right now.
Yeah, again, I'm looking, I don't know what I'm seeing here, but the numbers that I've got showed 120.
I have 120.
I
Yeah,
have 120.
last year, 24 was 115, 25 proposed is 120.
Okay,
Yeah, as long as that number is accurate and will cover our lease payments. Tires I didn't mess with.
tires, we already went over $4,000 this year, but that's because apparently we needed some big ones.
4 new tires, and they're each costing 7,600.
Yeah.
And he expects the same next year.
Equipment repairs, yeah, they're,
I'm trying to figure out why the 18 is costing us as much for repairs as the 16 is.
Because it's an international.
No, that's the 2023.
Oh,
The 16, I've got repairs of 13,667. On the 18, I have 11,321. I mean,
but didn't we put a pile of money in the 16 last year?
yes,
Um,
we're still putting a pile.
and, well, no, but I think we put in double or almost triple into it last year.
No, that was the 13. Remember the 13?
I wasn't around.
Yeah.
Without me. Some parts, yeah. I don't know, the number on the ton truck doesn't, in the December 18th one doesn't look accurate to me either. I remember seeing that. So I'm wondering if maybe that was,
And then we did a lot of repairs to the plows apparently, because that was 13,000. I'm like, what were we repairing? And whose plow was it?
cutting edges.
Maybe.
Cutting edges, I know they had a couple of shoes and some springs. I don't know, but
I don't know what cutting edges cost now either.
they're not cheap.
I was gonna say, they used to be just about $5,000.
The only thing I saw there is that, we're close to our budget already. But when we get the new truck, we take delivery after the new year, right?
You say that every time. It doesn't work.
All I was gonna say
I've
is
been
that,
told that every time we buy a new truck.
theoretically it should save us 10. It should save us 10, which means we should leave it at 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've already spent 45 and it's only half a year.
Right. So saving us 10 might put us nearer, I don't know. Tools I left alone, salt I left alone, chloride I left alone.
Fred, I'd like to lower them.
Okay.
Well, you see, you're halfway through the year and you've only spent 16. I think we can get away with 33.
to raise it, but that's fine.
I know, and I was like, wouldn't pulling teeth to get them to put chloride down.
I mean, they obviously will use some before the fiscal year is out, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have another 3
Yeah,
or
May,
4.
June.
Yeah, you only have 2 months.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We have 2
One
months.
of them's wet and muddy.
Yeah,
That's April.
so May and
Starting
June,
May.
and
So 33 was the suggested.
Mhm.
Okay.
Did we get a bid on anything for it, or do we don't put that up?
no, we're at the mercy of them, but they've actually been pretty good. I mean, I think we've had the same rate for about 2 years.
Not the same as salt. You're at the mercy of whatever you can get.
Salt, we do a bid thing. Now, these are the first bills.
No, we do the state price.
Right, but we sign a contract.
Yes, contract, but we don't put up the bids.
No, but
The proposed for culverts, I think was it 18?
Mhm.
Looking at the year to dates.
we've only spent 32 at the most.
Because we build so much to the flood.
Yes.
I know that there are a couple of culvert projects that need to happen, and she was talking about Town Hill. I know there's the one by Allen's that needs to have something done to it.
He's got about 20 on a list. I mean, we're working on the culvert list so that we can start. But
Yeah.
there are a number that are in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
And upgrading the size will help us prevent flooding.
Yeah.
It's just that like to go from an 18-inch to a 24-inch, even there is about 1,000 for a 40-footer.
The suggested cut I made was to bring it from 18 to 15. But knowing what's on the docket for culverts, I'm not sure that that's a responsible decision.
But if he could buy a lot now, because he's got 8,800 sitting there.
Right.
Yeah.
He could, yeah, and it's also finding the time. You
Right.
can store them here, but finding the time.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the bus barn where you could store them.
Are they safe there? Would someone steal them?
Nobody
No.
even goes in there.
Can you even lift one? Let's put it that way.
Is he back to the galvanized steel or is he doing the plastic? Plastic?
But they're still heavy.
Yeah, they are.
Well, the 40, yeah, you'd have to cut here. So you want to drop to 15?
But my question is he gonna have enough time, quote unquote, we don't get a flood?
Right, if
We
everything is
don't get him
normal.
until July, so this budget will be done. I mean, not that one, but the one you're working on.
No, I'm saying, if he's lucky to get, say, 12 or 15 of them in this year,
You mean, April, May, June?
Well, purchase them at least. With the $8,000 he's got left, plus if we give him another 15, I mean, I know it's not gonna get everything on his list done, but to Kurt's point, he won't have time to get them all done.
between brush cutting and ditching and
Well, a
Grading.
couple grants, we've got a couple grants that he agreed to do.
Right.
Yeah, he's got that big one on the pond road, right?
If we had it.
Yeah.
And
That,
then the grant and aid
yeah,
on East Hill.
I think if you lowered it 3 and takes what he gets and buys a big lot and stores it in the bus barn, he'll never use what he's going to be getting for a lot of money.
and 15 is what we gave him according to this in 23. We lowered it in 24, but cold patch, I didn't touch.
He's already spent 948 of it, so.
And winter sand bid came in, 46 something.
Well, it came in at 38, 750. We can talk about that if we go with that bid. And then I added 7,500, which is what we spent this year for a 3/4 inch stone to add ourselves.
There we go, who sell this?
So for the purposes of this, 46 would cover that.
Yeah.
I know we haven't awarded the contract, if you were to think about sieve sizes, but we won't point fingers. Gravel, he's got an $8,000 request. He's itemized nothing to it.
Not yet. He usually gets he usually gets it and uses it in the spring,
Right.
but he hasn't done it because they were busy with other things.
And I talked to him about it today and he was not happy with my suggestions, but I wondered if we could bring that to 5,000, given the amount of money that he has left in his class 3. So those 4 line items, if you clump them all together,
Yeah,
your gravel, your
class
2,
threes.
your 3, and your 4.
He's got 53,000 in it.
Right, but we're over, we're $4,000 over on both the class 2 and class 4. But anyway, if you combine all of them, he's around $40,000 to the good. He is convinced that he will be able to spend between $40,000 and $50,000 through mud season till the end of this year.
Yes.
I tend to believe him. But even still, we could cut the gravel cost down to 5. That leaves class 2 alone, class 3 alone, class 4 alone, so those numbers all stay the same. Bridges I didn't touch, guardrails I didn't touch, I didn't mess with anything else.
Guardrails, he hasn't bought anything this year, but what does he have for the budget?
He's asking for 65.
Same, but he hasn't spent anything this year. I think the question should be, Michelle, if you could ask him if he's planning on using that this spring, and where is he putting those guardrails? Okay.
There's a couple places too.
Yeah.
You should have a guardrail plan. We had a request in front of Tamarack Brook on the North Wolcott Road.
Oh, he's waiting for those guardrails, actually. Those have been ordered. on North Wolcott.
Do we know if it'll take the 65 or?
It may.
Okay.
He said that he had placed those the order for those. So maybe that's where this is going.
Yeah, could you follow up, let us know? There's a few places coming down Sand Hill though, I think.
Oh, yeah, there's some places there. If you get going fast, you might not make it to the bottom.
There's plenty of trees. You're not gonna.
No, Sand Hill. Yeah. Our life travels every day.
Yeah, but there's only you and me at the top. There's what, a handful of other houses. Everybody else goes West Hill. We'll be fine. Worry about us. Plus, where will Dallas throw his beer cans? If you put a guardrail there.
So do they plow down Sand Hill and up West Hill? Or do they plow up Sand Hill?
It seems to have changed this year. I've noticed that the trucks come down first, turn around and come up. And I think they do sand in west first and then come back around to Baldwin, but I haven't followed them around. It's just my theory. Brush cutting, he wanted 6,000. I just arbitrarily cut that to 4,000 because I know he wanted to enter into that rental agreement with whatever that piece of iron was. Given that we're facing an 8% and we really like it to be 3%, I took $2,000 out of it because.
Is that device that just wreaks havoc on trees and splinters into smithereens?
No, that's the one that we own. They want to rent one.
Oh,
They want to rent one that goes on, I think it's a. Either
Goes
a big
up to the
tractor
back
or
of a tractor and you can lay it, raise and lower it and they'll go along, doing basically the same thing.
yeah, the
Brush
interlock.
hog.
it seems like it's such an unattractive look when it's done. It looks like
It
a
is.
tornado went through.
It's basically
It's a
the
change.
Read
chains,
the book on trees
basically
and how they
chains on
feel.
fire and they just get
Yes.
whipping and they
Right.
destroy what's underneath.
It's
They
a,
talk and have
If-
feelings.
I mean, I've seen them doing branches at the edge of the right of way, I suppose.
yes, it's a forestry implement. I mean, it's,
Their thoughts are that you have to go in and do heavy cutting because you don't have the time every year to hit every road, which is the light cutting. So they go in and do the heavy cutting, and then that road is good for a couple of years, and then they try to hit the light on the roads that they have not
Yes.
So
gotten to.
my question is, the electric company is also supposed to be doing trimming for their lines, which run along all these roads that we own.
They don't have the staff to do it.
They only do it once every 40.
But they do it on Route 15, but they do it anywhere else.
And then there's also the lines that go up in North Wolcott, they go up on the back hill, you never see them touch the trees growing in them that are 10 foot tall.
and they did them on 15 as a part of the every last mile thing for the fiber upgrade.
Belinda, they've been doing it on Town Hill Road. They've been doing a heck of a good job.
Well, you are privileged then because.
Yes, we
Road
are.
hasn't seen- And when I actually talked to, well, that was when Rusty was on the department, and he said, no, we don't do that.
So Monica, are they doing it just up by you?
No, they're doing the entire road.
Oh,
They've been doing it for a while. It's beautiful. They're cutting down everything under the lines except for the apple trees.
because you're supposed to be getting internet up there soon. We gave money.
Morrisville Electric, where out I am, and Richard Wolcott. They came through and cleared, I think it was 2 summers ago now.
Yeah, it's like every 4 or 5 years they go through and cut.
It was a little shocking, honestly, but it's recovered.
Do you think it's Hardwick Electric doing that, Monica?
It is hard. It is Hardwick Electric. They've contracted with this guy, but it is Hardwick Electric that's paying for it.
I'll be calling.
Going back to miscellaneous, this 2,500, where do we stand? Have they spent that? Because you could you just put miscellaneous in with the brush cutting and remove miscellaneous? I mean,
Miscellaneous, well, we have $207.92. It's basically newspaper notices, and anything that doesn't fall under a category, he makes it miscellaneous, like paint, sometimes it's paint. But yeah, I have 2750 here and he's only spent 200.
Why?
Well, he puts it under miscellaneous. So
Short answer, yes.
So
I
we
think
roll it
paint
out.
would be under your equipment.
he never puts it under equipment.
So get rid of miscellaneous, like keep 500 for miscellaneous and move 200, so that we get brush cutting back up.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
I'm gonna talk about bridge repair. For the last 2 years, I looked at it. There's no bridge repair been done and we still, put in 2,500.
Well, I've talked to Michelle about our responsibility on bridge repairs and maintenance, and I hope it's on her little schedule for Dylan in the
Oh, yeah,
spring.
we already talked about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because do they need equipment or something when they do these bridges repairs?
they
Because,
might.
yeah, it wouldn't be their labor, but it would be, the 2,500 would be for
He
equipment
thought
then.
about, yeah, he thought about the power washer. He was thinking about, figures out how to power wash.
What about, outside equipment? There's a line item in here, outside equipment use.
$3,000.
3,000. What have we
That's for
spent?
rent, isn't it? To rent other
Is
stuff.
that Reynolds?
Where are we at now?
No, he used the Kingdom something for outside equipment use. I don't know. I'll have to look that one up, send it to you.
Construction?
I think he also, for like trucking, I think he used Kingdom to truck for us or something.
Yeah, maybe that was it. No, well, yeah, it was something.
Kingdom trucked some rocks for us,
Yeah.
for the
Roof
rocks
rack.
Dowdy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That could still,
Well, and in this coming cycle, we've got that rental for the Pond Road coming up too, but
I
that'll be,
included that in the grant. I don't know if they'll
Yeah.
allow that, but
Usually they do.
janitor, brush cutting, we've got back up, office expense. You know, I didn't take it out.
Well, you should.
Could we just leave that?
Supply everything.
so it was, unless it's, do they have like coffee and stuff?
I bought the coffee.
Yeah, well, we shouldn't be buying them coffee, you know.
What I do.
We buy them their shoes and their clothes,
You can bring their own coffee.
yeah, really.
What's $6 a week for them to buy a bag of
I
coffee?
would think get free coffee at the store, but I wouldn't drink that stuff, so.
It's not so bad.
It's not.
No, it's only tree branch, don't worry about it.
Mowing I left alone, and then the big one that's left is paving. My suggestion was to drop that to 50, and the reason being, right now, or as of December 18th on their paving, they had used, was it almost nothing? It was like $5,000.
They have used 11,400 and they have 23,600.
Well, it depends on whether you have a grant and you have a match. And if you don't have a grant, then you're on your own to do it all yourself.
But
And
you
you
know,
only get a grant like every 3 or 4 years.
right, and we just barely finished the North Wolcott one because we asked for an extension and we got it. We did it. And I got reimbursed my 185,000 or whatever, but
We won't get another one for another 2 or 3
That's what he
years.
said.
and probably not a structures grant either, because we had the town hill.
I mean, I think we can apply for 2, can't we?
No, we could,
You can apply for both. You do paving and also a structures grant.
But for 2 different areas, like they're gonna
Yeah.
apply for town, I was just gonna start both of them in the queue. Town Hill and North Wolcott. I'm not sure if I can.
Town hill, you can't do paving.
Oh, you can.
No, it has to be a
Class
sort
2 road.
Oh,
yeah. And Town Hill's class 3. And so's East Hill. So basically, the only paving thing we can do is School Street. That would be nice.
North Wolcott, the beginning of the Elmer Pond.
And yeah,
It's School Street, we shouldn't do until the sewer's out. But if we cut it to 50 with the 23 he has left, if we were to give him 50, or if we were to give the department 50, that brings him almost at that kind of 80 number he had in his head.
and what was he thinking about paving?
Up and down.
Town Hill.
Is
It
it,
is really bad.
It's getting bad.
It's
we're extending
bad.
it more or
It's
just
in a row
replacing?
In some
It's
places.
replacing.
We had it even patch paved, but it's just not holding.
That hill will never hold.
Too much frost, too much ledge, too much frost.
It's more up like, my Dark Wings house there, up in
The old
there.
Martin house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that brings me to the end of my usefulness there was,
So we do have a balance in paving,
Me too, right now, 23,600.
so we need to remember that come June, if he hasn't spent it, we need to reserve it, assign,
Fund balance, yeah.
or it will be absorbed.
Gonna be, Dylan's are, gonna be all over that. So I'm dropping that to 50.
Mhm.
And insurance, we have no say over, sorry guys.
So what's that give you for new total?
a new total, provided my math is correct, it brings us to 846, 622.
I had 846, 872, but I could have missed something that we were talking.
You have 842, she has 872?
846, 622.
I had 846, 872.
I took out the office expense. Is
Yeah,
what
I did.
Okay.
Drop that. Outside equipment use is still 3,000. Miscellaneous, you're up to 500. Guardrails we kept.
Yeah.
And what did we do with brush cutting?
Brush cutting, I brought back up to the 6,000 because we pulled 2 out of miscellaneous.
Okay.
You have winter sand at 46, 250.
Nope, I have it at even 46, 46, 250. There it is right there.
That's roughly an increase of what, about 80,000. And labor went up.
Like 3. Labor went up, whatever labor went up, but the insurance went up 43.
Labor went up about 7, 6.5, 7, 6,500, I think. Oh, no, 75.95. And insurance went up, yeah.
What's next?
IT.
Linda and I talked to Bradley and kind of went through all of the subscriptions. I don't really know how to get this down anymore. Note that Adobe's gonna go down, but we just have 2 subscriptions that we cannot, that are both expire in September and August, so we'll consolidate those then. So I dropped this from 470 to 430, just because I'm not.
So when we went through it, we really started cutting then, with our conversation with Bradley, we went line by line and looked it up and saw whether we needed it or not, and whether there were duplicates. I wondered how you got, the antivirus software down to $49 though,
That's what they charge, because I think Bradley.
for all of us, all of the.
It's what Norton, we pay for Norton.
Yeah.
How? How come mine don't?
I don't know, I'm just paying a fees bill. I think it was 55 for all of us though. Instead of 49.
For the year.
Yeah, for a year. Every year we have to update it and you can buy 5. I buy 5.
You wanted it 55?
Yeah, let's see. That,
When you say you buy 5, does that mean 5 instances of $55?
no, 5 subscriptions for each of the computers.
So that's got, Tom has one. I have.
You have one, I have one,
Yeah.
I don't have one on the land records because I don't need it. I have one on the financial computer, Tom has one, and the zoning has one. You don't need it on the server because you have it on the individual, well, you buy it, it automatically goes on the server and then it goes out, and, yeah. So I'm really gonna have to upgrade my server. But that's not in there.
So that gets us to text my gov.
So what we did is signed a contract, but there was a stipulation in the contract. So that we can continue with the same rates, and there was a stipulation in the contract that said if at this board meeting we vote it down, that we can back out.
Want to discuss it now or wait? Is it on the agenda for later?
Yeah, I did buy.
I have it on the agenda now to talk about.
All right.
So I'm willing in my budget where the $1,150 is to donate it for this. You take that out of my budget and put it in this, my text gov. Because I
Every
think,
year moving forward.
yeah. Because I think that the town clerk's office can utilize this pet service for dogs, taxes, even for elections or whatever. I think that probably the town clerk's office will get the most out of it. And I'm willing to give up my computer expense for that.
Even though you need a new server.
No, the server is going to be this year. I'm not waiting until 2025. July, I'm sorry, I can't. No, I'm just coming out this year.
How much did you say, Belinda?
$1,150. It should be in my budget under town clerk. Just take it out and put it where you need under IT. I know it's 1,800.
It's under, it's where?
Computer supply, second one down.
Yeah,
And so why did you put that in there? You must have had a reason.
well,
I think we were talking about the server at the time.
we were talking about upgrading this, and I have looked into it. It's gonna take me a little more than $1,150 this year that I have in there. But I also have, office supplies I might have to, borrow from. And I had the election, grant, so I was able to buy some stuff. So I don't think I'll be buying as much, office supplies this year. It will come out of my budget this year.
It's a 3-year contract, so we could keep it going for 3 years.
Yeah, you don't ever have to put it back in my budget, the $1,150, because if I get a new server, this one, how long has this one lasted, Linda? 15 years? Didn't we get it when we first came here, or was it 2 years after? Just has always been here.
Think about that.
You don't have that anniversary memorized?
And I have tinkered with this one till it doesn't always work right now.
So we're gonna put, instead of computer supplies in your budget, we're gonna put go text me.
You can, and put the $1,150 for it. Because I think the town clerk's office is going to utilize it more than any other department. And my question is, the other thing is, you know how we send emails to remind people about meetings and stuff? Is that something we can do with this text gov thing too?
You can text them any message that you'd like.
As long as you got a cell phone.
You got
Yeah.
25,000 messages or something?
I think we'll be okay then.
And it, you can select on regions as well, so if you just have a certain area that you want to text.
Or we can just pick certain cell numbers.
And if you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, but it comes with the subscription, with the subscription, you get 400 and what, like 20?
1,800.
You're gonna get 420-ish numbers out of 600-ish. And then people can opt in, so they put the widget, and they already have a meeting set up for next Thursday to start scheduling.
Okay, so is the 1,800 coming out in July?
Yes, it starts in July.
Okay,
We start paying for it monthly in July.
yes,
So we
Okay.
essentially get 5 months free.
okay.
It's locked in for 1,800 for 3 years.
So if we put 1150 there and we just have to find the other money? Or do we want to move the 1,800 there?
I'm thinking we need $650 more.
As far as where to place it, I would say it should go in Belinda's budget. We should
Yeah,
just replace.
yeah. Definitely.
That's fine. I just think that
Just
my
because
office.
I prefer to stay there because it's just one of those new reoccurring things and I don't want it showing up somewhere else and the town is just gonna have to start coming up with it.
You prefer it to say Belinda's budget?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But I would have voted no.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's just another
I
thing.
know, but.
It's just another thing. I don't know.
And I also would have voted no, but that was because I didn't think that anybody in this building had the capacity to manage another thing and would
Well,
use
I
it.
hope we can.
If you think you've got a use for it, I'm all for it. It's a wonderful piece of tech. I think it'll be useful for a lot of things, but
I don't need somebody like Alex Poole telling me he needs to be told before his tax bill is due instead of after. I'm like, okay,
Well, this is a built database. We weren't getting anything from email.
Yeah. Yeah.
and this way I'll get more contact numbers so I can call people up randomly.
we're always saying that we want more engagement.
Yes,
So where do we find the 650?
You add it to her budget and we'll find it somewhere.
I like that. You guys like that?
then it makes it look like I went sky high.
So that drops the IT department budget back to 31,694. Still an increase of roughly 11,000, but keep in mind that we moved everything.
Well, that budget was not, as you can see, was not correct in there, of what the town was actually.
And the CAI and just mapping.
It's just really.
Yeah. I don't have Bradley in this budget at all from the previous year.
And then we have the website maintenance, and so yes.
So how much is that total now?
It's $31,694. I'm wondering if we have a huge increase, $1,100 for email addresses, and I'm just not sure if some of those have to be retired. I don't know who manages that.
Well, town administrator is still using his, and then you, me, Deanna. I think we have 5 or 6.
We have, Tom has one.
Yes, that's.
I would honestly like to take that service over because I know how to do Gmail management of
You can have it. As far as I know, Bradley was taking care of it.
Bradley wasn't doing it, so I don't know who's doing it. I've asked him.
I mean, I set up yours, Gmail,
Oh,
after talking to Linda. Yeah,
so you know how to do it?
yeah, I know how to get in and everything.
And I would imagine by June 30th, Kurt will be done.
That would be nice. Because we're up to $90 or something each month on that.
Oh, okay, because, yeah.
So what does that mean, Michelle? I'm a little unsure because I don't understand it. Not have wolcottbt.org anymore, or what do you mean management?
No, it's just that I was just gonna go in and see if we could clean up any emails, but I don't know. I can't get in. I don't have the password.
Sure, I have all that, yeah.
And I don't know if, like at Circus Circus, maybe it's because it was a nonprofit. We didn't pay anything for Google and we had a slew of emails, so I don't.
I have no idea. I didn't set it up.
No, that guy that came today did.
Doug,
So you're thinking that there's a potential we could save something there?
No, I have to call, I have to contact.
I will get that info to you tomorrow.
Or you just paid in the last orders for wolcottbt.org.
Oh, that's a different, that's your website. So you have to pay for domain names, but this is for Gmail, for email addresses, so.
Yeah, like Belinda's is TC at Wolcott BT.
Yeah, yeah, really, why? I mean, Tom doesn't need it. How come the
I
listers,
don't think we could.
listers have a Gmail, but
It
it's
was already set up, but Tom's wasn't set up.
listers, well, Tom set up the Gmail one with Deb, but
Yeah.
then we had the other one for zoning. I mean,
I don't even know if Gmail, if the wolcott.org are on the Gmail. I don't know. I haven't seen it
on what?
on the Gmail account that we're paying for. So the email addresses, I'm assuming, are we paying for Gmail addresses, email addresses? I don't.
We're paying for the domain, our email address is at wolcottbt.org.
Through Gmail.
Gmail.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I know they've made, it's apples and tomatoes here, but Google has made offers to me to have my own, because my email address for work is just a Gmail one, but I can get my own, hey, it's me at ParityConstruction.com or whatever, and it's substantially less. And I can have, I think, up to 10.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
All right, so we'll put that on the list of coming back to.
Maybe we can find 650.
Yeah, it's 1100. Insurance we're stuck with.
I want to lower the interest to 3. I want to credit the interest that we pay. Where are we? Under interest.
Oh, have we done?
Insurance.
Oh,
Well, insurance we can't change. That's just the way it is. They've given me the figure.
Backtrack.
Oh, the
Under,
interest?
under debt.
Oh, was it under that? Okay, yeah, under here, it's just under interest, sorry.
I don't know what you're looking at, but
Oh,
it's.
did she?
Budget, it shows up under debt. On
Okay.
the first page.
While we're on the topic of pet peeves, the fact that those don't line up drives me bananas.
and you want to lower what? Interest, LOC?
Yeah, from 4 to 3.
Okay, should.
She knows, I don't.
I do.
It depends on how much money we borrow
Yeah,
and don't pay back right away.
right. This year we had 400 and I'm hoping not to have more than 350 next year, so.
And should it be 350?
No, I mean, borrow 350,000 instead of 400,000.
They were on listers.
So I put in the lower amount, if you look in the red in the notes column, it says it's 32,965. If we increase Tom's hours by 2 hours a week. And all the scenarios are here listed in the notes column.
And the 3% raises are in there?
Yes. And well, there's a 3% raise for the lead lister. The assistant lister is from 18 to 20 an hour. Or just with a 3% raise with no, 3% increase with no raise. There are different prices, there are different scenarios there.
So what did you do? Reduce the 2 extra hours a week?
Yeah, it's at 28 if we don't increase. I don't know if we need to. I'm not sure. It's just an
Yeah,
unknown.
we have no idea what they're gonna do. Never. We know what's in the contract, but it's very vague.
I know it's still high for the assistant lister because he does not work the full hours, but I kind of feel like I had to keep it at the hours that he should be there versus, and this doesn't include any hours for Tracy.
She only comes in for the organizational meeting and
1 hour, 1 or 2 hours a year.
yeah, that's okay.
It's about $30. And, I think they can offset it by if they take vacations or,
This is for 49 weeks.
Sam, takes a lot of time. He likes to take time off for things, so Tom takes days off, so I think it'll all even out in the end.
Yeah, because I set it at 49 weeks, but I
Yeah.
know it's not good.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay, so keep it at 28.
Yes, I think so.
With the $2 an hour increase, pretty much what was off, what was
Well, if you
discussed.
told them that, then we have to stick by it.
It was what was discussed. I don't know, it was a firm yes, but it was discussed.
He's doing a petition to rerun, so.
Well, you have to make your word good.
Hard with budgets though.
Why you don't promise it.
Yeah.
On our next budget hearing, we should all come in wearing like hatchet hats. God. So in the listers, that brings the total, right, assuming that we don't change newspapers, mileage, or office expenses, brings the total at 31,324 is accurate.
Yeah, but then I have a note here, add 6,700 to revenue to offset, and I don't know what that means.
That means that at the very, very end.
On your revenues, we're going to put that in there.
Your budget, anticipated revenues. You need to put a line item in there that says,
Mr. Money Market or
something
something.
add $6,700 to that total. So we take all the money we need to raise, minus all the money we think we're gonna receive, and that's, what the
That's the
tax
budget.
rate is built on.
What are you calling it, listers?
So what do you want to call it?
Act 60 revenue? I don't know. That's what
Nobody would know what that.
I know, that's why we don't want them to know.
Reappraisal revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, a reappraisal of something.
Reappraisal funds,
Yeah, reappraisal fund.
because that's where it's coming from.
And then we thought it would be 6,700.
So you have a bid for the audit?
I
That's
do.
what's gonna be for the single audit?
I do. I don't want to tell you.
Oh, that's not 15,000.
It's more like 17. I know, I know. But I haven't got it finalized, but when I talked to John today, about the fund balance and what he had sent me, he's pretty sure it's gonna be 17.
Well, tell him we need a contract by January
So he-
15th. if
he's
he
writing
wants
it
this
up.
Company to be doing it.
He's writing it up, but his question to me is that I'm going to need a single audit for the next 3 years. And I don't know, because I don't know if I'm gonna have a flood in 2020.
Yeah, but it's not flood, it's all that ARPA money you're getting for the wastewater,
Well, I know that,
you know.
but
too.
by
Federal money.
2027, won't it be done?
26, it'll be
Right,
done.
so I have 25, and then I have 26, and then I have 26, 27. So, that's why I'm thinking, is it going to be?
So if it goes over, we still have, Northern Borders, which is federal money for wastewater, and if we get the congressional spending
And we
of
will,
$1 million, that would bring us over.
yeah, so we're talking 3 years, single audit, okay. All right, I'll let him know and we'll drop the contract.
Will they give us a lesser rate if it's a fee? Or he just guarantees the rate?
I can ask him.
Well, tell them if we don't need to do one, we're not doing one.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to estimate, I mean, this one's done, and then I have the one on the end, but then, yeah, so.
So I don't know, does the money from the buyouts? Is that federal, that's federal money?
That's gotta be included.
And who knows if we'll get federal money for the schoolhouse?
Oh, that's true. Oh, I just should tell him forever. Single audit for the rest of my life.
It's a better rate.
Yeah, okay, all right.
15 or keep it at 15?
17.
No, make it 17 and then I'll talk to him and see. I mean, it's 14.9 with a regular. I thought 17 wasn't bad for a single.
Okay, boy, the county tax sure went up.
Yeah, didn't it? All of them did.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the problem over there?
Who knows? They said.
More criminals.
I
No,
think they used to get some new equipment and stuff.
county tax just has to do with the courthouse.
But we also have more citizens too. It's based on percentage. If we're
Less.
in Lamoille County,
Well, it's based by town and we'll
Yeah.
get reduced.
Michelle has it.
Lost 6.
You have the Lamoille County final one. The dues, remember we talked about that?
Is that the one I gave?
No.
No.
But you don't have to dig it up, it's all right. It's based on, is it your grand list?
Yes, and your population, per a certain percentage and stuff. It explains it right on.
Is that the dispatch?
No.
No, this is the courthouse.
What, maintains the courthouse, it's just about our only county.
Everybody in Lamoille County
And
has.
part of it is pays for the sheriff
Yeah.
and the
His
courthouse.
salary.
It's not the fund balance?
No. That's all right, we're not gonna make you look, okay? Getting late, we need to move on here.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean,
We have a contract, so we're good.
when does that end?
I noted that.
This is the last year, what you're putting in.
Okay. Streetlights,
Can't change it.
Portalet. The Portalet though is 190, isn't it?
But she's getting it from a different person and it's gonna be cheaper.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you found out, Michelle?
Yeah, I'm going for the Charlottes and it's gonna be 175 a month for rental and cleaning weekly.
We do that for the transfer station and the ballpark too?
I would like to. And this is an ADA, so it's more expensive.
Wow.
But the transfer station one is not.
No, it would be
No.
cheaper. It would probably be about 165, 160.
Nice work.
He doesn't have a contract with Coffin, so we're gonna change.
And I cut it back to. So that's good. Nobody's gonna go in there.
Now, is this lease land gonna go up when they do something with the old depot foundation?
It's free. The lease is free.
The lease land is for a long time ago, the lots, some of them were leased out to like, we pay Morristown School and stuff. And they collected this tax, this lease land tax. And so far I have 3 left that I pay $59 a year to.
So we're getting rid of the litter committee. We're on Parks and Recreation. Can the portalet in there be reduced?
So where are we?
Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, I was thinking that it can.
Yeah, they usually get their own and I just pay the bills, but yeah, maybe Michelle could work with them on that.
Show doing the entire.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
should tell Stuart that, tell us when he wants it and where and we'll order it. So what that'd be 175 times 12, and you don't know.
Well, if you do ADA, and I don't think you'd need ADA.
800. Be the same as the other, probably 800.
160 if the regular one or.
You need to come back with us on the price for that?
Yeah, because I don't know what that would be. And where does that one go? It goes right over here on the bottom.
That depends. And last year it went up to the school, but I think it'll come back down. because
It
of
will.
wheels Being fixed up.
And that's just, how many months a year? Just the summer months?
Just like summer.
May through, I'm doing rail trail May
May
through
through-
November, but
It doesn't go as far as November, probably August or something.
May through August.
Yeah.
Then it's not gonna be anywhere near like.
Maybe you could shoot Stuart an email. You don't have it, I'll give it to you.
I have, oh, I haven't seen that.
So he's writing a grant. He wants to, they have a very, huh?
We got money, got $500.
For the grant he just wrote.
No, but he got somebody to sponsor it for $500 for the pickleball thing.
But he's also writing a grant. He came over and I helped him on it, to extend the pickleball court over there. It has a very active group of Wolcott people that play every Sunday. So he had asked for $1,000. I think there's a match. Is that what he asked for?
Yes.
You see any other places you want to cut, or do you want to just wait for Michelle's updated price for Portal? Okay. Payroll tax, that's Sarah, Belinda,
Yep, I set that based on what we had in there for salaries.
filming,
This is what they presented and I haven't had any. Put on this one.
you can take the municipal planning grant line item out, because that's 3 years with nothing.
Okay.
Pretty bare bones.
The only thing I saw in the select board budget was potentially moving the seasonal
into the highway budget.
Absolutely.
Except,
It's got to.
okay, the only thing is that I just want to make sure that we can get these areas plowed. These would like take a priority and
That
that.
has nothing to do with what line item that's in. You can have it, you already have it, but we don't want it in our budget.
Okay. So we go,
Wow, it looks like you guys are.
I know,
Taking
I know.
it.
I don't want it to think so.
can we just then move the money over?
Yeah,
Okay.
You won't this year, but you will next year. This year, the select board manager was making a lot more than it really is.
That doesn't really change anything as far as the math is concerned. It just,
the end total will be the same, but it'll look weird saying that we have this highway person in our budget.
We can get rid of COVID supplies too.
Yeah. And I think we can really get rid of some of this picnic money.
Yeah, I think we need, okay, just work on more donations next year. You want to go to 300?
Well, you spent 500 this year, 549. You had 250 in the budget and you got $100 from a
We spent
donation.
it because we had it.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it was only $500. That's not bad for an event
yeah,
of that size. You got a lot of donations and everything.
the transfer station could donate.
Well, we
The
take
trash
free
can.
garbage. I will ask myself about that.
So,
so when we started, we had nothing.
Yeah.
The whole idea was,
potluck.
no, it wasn't a potluck, we just got all donations and then.
People, like, I get the hamburgers
We've
for
gotten
them.
lazy over the years.
Yeah.
Had a couple of floods.
We've also had people in charge of it, they were not as enthusiastic about it as they probably should have been. So we need to put one of the select board members in charge of it again. Not necessarily you, I was looking at Mike.
I noticed that. You guys, you'll have to change the date though, because it's on my wedding anniversary every year.
No,
It's to call with your wife.
I'll give you her phone number, you can call.
Free food. We won't even make her cook her own hamburger.
So you want it back to 250 and we'll just work with it?
I think we can try, like Linda really put in some effort when she got some donations for it. I think we should do the same and just do local businesses.
And we'll
and
have,
people donated, you know, we as
Yeah.
employees
Yes.
donated and we asked people that bring tomatoes from their
Yeah.
gardens
And
and
they
things
did
like
that.
that.
and you'll have your text thing so that you can.
There you go.
I can get more people here, we can run out of hamburgers sooner.
I'm wondering though whether legal services is enough. And I'll tell you why, but we're gonna go over it in a bit. So there has to be an easement on every person's property for the tanks. For the wastewater, at
And-
which the
And that doesn't come out of the grant money?
no,
Yeah. You can't pay for legal services?
they told me no, that it needs to go to our attorney and he needs to review them. I mean, it'll be a boilerplate thing that will just change slightly with each one, but I'm not sure.
BLCC can't.
How does it look? Huh?
BLCC.
No, I don't know.
No, they never
It's too serious for that. How about you just put a little question mark there and I'll get back to you that, I will ask more about it. Town clerk treasurer.
Yeah, now that you've increased me.
Aren't you lucky?
I know.
Town hall. Did you have any remarks in those?
I do. On revenue side and the expense side. Ballet makes the difference to what I think should be budgeted. So, because if we're getting $350 a month, that's $4,200 a year, that's if it's 12 months. They usually do like 10. So that's 3,500. There's 2 months they take off and don't pay. But do we think that they will be in there?
They started July 6th. I sent a thing, a bill pay for you to get paid. We'll just see how it goes, whether they'll be back in September.
Yeah.
Depends on how these months shake out.
Because July and August, they usually don't use it, but September they start again. And that's the budget you're working on. So you see, it's,
It's 50-50. I don't think I would put it in.
all right, so,
All rent, that's what we're talking.
Huh?
yeah, we're talking about that. The rent.
So I do 350 at least, January through May.
Okay. But that's not in this budget, so that's why I'm saying, so revenue, the revenue side of that, I don't know if we would usually we put $4,000 in or something from the past. I don't know if we should do half of that.
What are you bringing in from all of the weddings and things?
We're like at 400, it's $60 a piece, so. And we didn't charge the Mennonites, so.
What's
Just
that?
took some pictures.
They just went in there and took pictures in the building. I'm not gonna charge them $60 for walking in and taking a picture.
Recently been having a lot of
Yeah.
requests.
And I have 3 more lined up at $60.
Just like $20.
80?
The only thing I can see is if you increased it, would just be for the winter months, because that's when you're losing heat.
But you got a janitor in there, cleaning, even with the people coming in. And, electric, I think last year we had it at 1,600. If we're not going to, but we've only spent $559. But that's because it wasn't being used for a while. So if, the ballet's not gonna be in there.
We have a big electric hot water tank down in
Yes.
the basement. Now we have a tiny 1-gallon one in the kitchen. Does that make a big difference?
It does. Also fuel. I'm even to spend 1,000 this year, yeah. And we had $3,000 in there.
Where are the filters and salt crystals and things like that?
Town hall supplies and, et cetera.
Oh,
Well, we had a different winter.
Yeah.
Um,
And we're taking out that,
we have not had the opportunity to really know what a real winter is with our new furnaces, which might make a difference too.
you can take the garbage disposal out. This is what the transfer station is contributing.
Yeah, it is,
I think the electricity should come down to about 1,200. And the fuel, I think should come down to 2. And you gotta remember, you got that 16,000 of the fuel thing. So, and that includes these other buildings too. I mean, I'm pretty sure highway will use it all, but you know what I'm saying?
We leave it at 40. I mean, they're on,
Yeah,
it's on track at 40 for quite a while now.
right.
I put you down to 5,300. And you've already dropped electric to 1,200.
office buildings.
So electric is coming at 1140 so far, and we had 2,500 in there.
But that's only half a year.
Yep. But fuel, we've only put in 1,500 here, and we had 48 in there. I again think you can lower that at least 1,000. If not more.
Although we are going into the heavy months, does that matter?
We just freeze here, we're okay. Once I open that vault door, all the cold air comes up. I know, Michelle has a little electric heater, so it keeps her warm.
So what are you saying, drop the fuel to,
About, yeah, 1,000.
to 25?
And did we up the town office supplies?
To 2,200?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
And you wanted electric down to 2,400 now?
Yeah,
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's about, these figures must be half of it.
Yeah, and the janitor is about half of the 32.
Mhm.
And he's only guaranteed 5 hours a week over there.
You're down to 10,300 now.
So the next one, you asked whether the dispatch remained. We had a discussion last time.
Well, I know patrol was pulled out, but I don't know.
The board, I believe, said.
You're gonna have to keep
dispatch.
it.
Huh?
You're gonna have to keep dispatch, and your fire department will have to go back to a call list.
But you want that in the select board budget, or you want it as a separate item?
Want it in the morning or in the budget?
I keep it in our budget.
So the only thing that leaves and is voted on separately is patrol.
That's what was the motion was last meeting.
That was my recollection.
Do you not like cats that he's doing that to you?
Yes,
I'm sorry, but he is
Somewhat-
fascinated with you.
Knows you can sense it.
He's new.
He said, well, you're bothering him.
He knows that there's a once a week tuna night.
we get, they get, she gets, our cat gets cow kidney and liver now raw. She loves that.
Oh my God, she doesn't throw up.
Our report,
I think we're set into a contract for a couple years, so
Well, at least this year. I
This
don't know
year.
About.
so maybe we should reach out to her and see about what it would cost for, you know, the next year.
Next year?
Yeah. I think it was last year we locked in, and so we had 2 years, so we might want to reach out to Mary Dearborn, see what she's proposing. We've been,
building maintenance fund,
oh, don't get me started. Are we going to have a handyman year round?
our recommendation was no.
Oh, thank God. So then I would say, I don't know why we're budgeting 10 grand for a person who, if we can, you know, on a need basis, go back to
Put
that.
up our E911 signs.
Well, that's the other thing, you contract to do that. But does that doesn't come out of town building though, does it?
Well, it's gotta come out of somewhere.
I was just keeping it in there so that we would have the 20 grand to get these projects done.
Yeah, we could change the title, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, we can't keep deferring maintenance.
Oh, no, I agree on that.
Costing, and who knows, you know, with this energy thing, we might find some things that we need to do some maintenance.
Well, they have a couple of things for ADA they have to do for the.
Yeah, right.
And actually, I know there's no money left in it this year, but depending on what we do with the engineer for our solar thing, if we shove that into July, maybe we could have that engineering fee pulled out of there.
Well, we have 5,500 slated for the light fixture maintenance. Upgrade, it could be 45, I think, if we get the grant, or we have the grant to get it done in time.
I would also like to visit this in June and see how much you have left out of that 20 grand.
What do we have left now? We have 227.
You got 9,000 right now.
Yeah, so we'll have some. That's what I wanted to use for the 9/11. It's 9/11 sign, so.
In the spring.
Yeah.
So that could do quite a bit before you even budget.
And maybe the snow guard, I called Alpine, but they don't do it, so I called our handyman to see, the on-call handyman to see if he would be able to do it, and he'll look at it in the spring.
He's actually coming tomorrow.
Oh, yes, to look
Yes.
at it? He said he wouldn't be able to do it in the spring,
Right.
spring.
And he's the same one that did the town hall snow guard over that little garbage cubby. So are you proposing just to leave it at 20?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. This work that needs to be done on the library building.
Yeah, again, maybe change the headings.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to call them, if you just want to call it.
Maintenance repair,
Yeah. There you
one
go.
blank one.
Town business.
Okay, the fire department. You know, about 10,000. Right?
Yeah, they had a,
They asked for an extra 4,000 for appropriations. An extra 2,000 for their stipends. An extra 4,000 for their equipment fund. It's about 10,000.
Yeah.
Tell me you can't give them the 10 because you gotta use it to put that thing back.
Or maybe we could tell them that they could have an increase in the equipment fund when we finish paying for their truck.
Oh, that would work, because we have one more year. But are they gonna want a new truck? I've been afraid to approach it.
Don't even mention.
I know.
you mean a
I
shiny?
mean, this thing is 20 years old that we bought it, 20 years we paid for it. And the price did not go down.
You want to drop that down to 11?
I don't know, I just made a suggestion.
I would offer them that.
Well, so looking at, and again, this all assumes the math is correct. Looking at the overall everything, if we were to use, you look at our fund balance, wherever that was, there's 28,900 that was set aside for 24-25, something of the ARPA money that I believe it was your idea to put aside. If we put that back into
25, 26?
25-26 budget, it looks like a 5.06 roughly.
Where would you put the 28 into the highway?
I didn't pick a home for it, I just,
For the what?
Into the highway department.
Well,
I think you would just put it as fund balance
No,
to offset the tax.
It goes in revenue.
Yeah,
Which goes right.
It goes in the revenue, so you wouldn't need to raise,
as much money.
right? More revenue that you can offset what you need to raise.
yeah, so with the 67 and the 28.9, we're looking at like 5.06%.
And that's taking into account the revenues. The only thing we haven't put in there for the revenue is the town hall.
I didn't
Oh,
include
okay.
revenues, that's just what our budget has increased
Okay.
year over year.
But revenues would bring it down.
Yeah,
But we have to figure out what we're gonna put in for town hall revenue. That's the only thing I couldn't even wrap my mind around. in the past, we've had stable income.
Yeah,
And can you tell me on there what, interest is, amount is?
65. 6,500 interest.
On the revenues.
Yeah,
6,500.
I want to up that. I've already got 9 grand.
What do you want up to?
I don't think I'll get 9 grand again, but I want to up it to probably 8.
So the tax rate, so it isn't so much how much the budget went up, it's how much the increase in the tax rate.
Yes.
Is my thing, because a lot of these increases, they're not, they're just the cost of living,
Yes.
that's how things have gone,
And when you cut, you're cutting services sometimes, or you're cutting leeway to be able to. deal with emergencies.
progress in the town,
So you didn't cut anything from the fire department?
No, not yet.
I jumped ahead just to kind of give us a pulse on where the overall budget was before we started talking about taking things away from the fire department.
I mean, if anything, I could only see taking it out of the stipend,
What's your run?
put it back to the eight. I
Oh,
mean, yeah, it'd be nice if the chief, the
Sorry.
assistant chief get something
2 grand.
extra, but
6.
it's a volunteer department.
Put the grand into.
well, it is a volunteer, so, you know, maybe they should, it's hard to get the people to volunteer, so you need to kind of entice them somewhat.
Well, you're talking 12 people divided into 8,000. If everyone did their equal hours, what would you get per person?
Not much.
300-400?
Oh, no, I think the stipend amount, 2 grand more, up to 10 is nothing. And what was the other increase for equipment?
Equipment. You're always gonna lose hose, no
Yeah.
matter what.
And what was the other part? It was 2, and then, because it was total of 10.
The appropriation went up 4.
Because they're talking truck and tanks.
Well, I'd rather have them pay for it than us.
Yeah.
They haven't given me their books this year.
They're having a CPA do it up in,
Well, I know, but we need to put something in the town report of what they
actually.
made for donations or whatever this year. And it's because that has to be in the town report. And in years past, sometimes it hasn't been. And I think we really need to make that clear. I think it's better for,
Oh, you should ask text or message Jim,
yeah,
he likes to be messaged.
So Belinda, it puts you up to 305, 567.
for revenue.
Yeah.
Okay.
With 2,000.
And what was it last year?
304, 4,982.
So it's a little more this year.
Just a little, yeah.
Okay.
$1,000 more, that's a little more.
Well, what is it? Well, if you tell me the town hall situation, I'm up it more.
Probably about 800.
I think it's just the insurance, health insurance and insurance alone just kill you. There's nothing you can do.
Well, it wasn't just an increase, it was also another employee taking it, so
It was what?
another employee taking insurance.
Dylan is getting back on the insurance. A 2-person versus he used to be a 1-person back when we had him. And then he took the buyout, now he's back on.
Did he go his full year?
Yes. You gotta remember, it's January for.
That's all right,
Next
as
year.
long as he went his full
Yes,
year.
I gave him the 1,200 last January and then, so he's back on. And that's what I told him when he came to me. I said, you gotta wait till January. And he said, fine. I'm just glad Michelle's not taking it. I know, I gotta pay the, remember the day. Yeah, I'm just gonna pay it at the end of the month.
Okay, have we had enough for tonight?
I have, absolutely. I'm going home.
We're not even done for this meeting. So everybody has some homework to do.
OSSU adopted their budget last night.
Did you cut anything?
It's a to Wolcott, it's a 7.7% increase. That's the end result, right? There was the Wolcott budget couldn't take the 428,000 extra that the OSSU assigned to them. That 421 is captured in a 7.7%. Does that make sense? Am I saying that?
No. No.
So it's not 400 and something, they lowered it. Because it was
No,
what?
the increase in the SU assessment in the Wolcott school budget
Mhm.
is $420,000. It's basically the same that they've been carrying in their draft budget.
Oh, so it didn't go up.
Sorry, their draft, it did go up from last year, $420,000.
It increased 420.
Oh, I thought you said that's the part that they were paying.
Oh, no.
No, okay. Well, I guess the school board has.
So if there's increase, did they take on more duties or more tasks or whatever services to offset the Wolcott school budget?
Yeah, they're trying to do and move a lot of these
Well, they
services.
proved that it doesn't work.
I don't.
But did the Wolcott budget get reduced because of?
Because of OSSU taking more, it looks like the OSSU budget grew, last year they were able to offset it by like, what, 1.8 million in reserve money?
All right. No, it's not.
And so Baker said it's not a budget issue, it's a funding issue. It's not a spending issue, it's a funding issue, which I thought was kind of clever.
Aren't they the same?
Well,
I just keep having people up there.
I think people, that was a thing at town meeting that a question people had, what are you gonna do next year?
Yeah.
But after having 3 budgets fail in a row, they decided to have a 0 increase and use that money. But it doesn't help when you do that, then there's a cliff.
Mhm.
It's easier if you just go in little increments.
Yeah,
So that-
unanimous vote approval.
So that 7.7, you're saying that the Wolcott school budget is gonna go up 7.5%?
That's right, and I don't
That's before
know
any
truly
raises.
what happens with state funding after that, will people waiting or that sort of jazz, but they're simple expense not being covered by their anticipated revenues. So it was a 34% increase to the SU fee to Wolcott School from 25 to 26. 34%.
They just ended teacher negotiations, so I don't know what that'll do.
So we just ended our budget. Do you have any comments?
I certainly see this isn't a fat cutting exercise.
It's not
A lot of bones getting into
a lot of work.
bones. Just cutting fat. I don't know. Unfortunately, when it gets lumped in with a school increase, and then we're looking at 10 or 12% property tax increase again, or this year. Right, if we have the town increase to the school increase. It just makes it
I know, hard.
right. The boiling frog metaphor or reference. I was just thinking that. Yeah, you put the frog in the cold water and turn the heat on, and the increments are, as the increment is so slow of heating, that before he knows it, it's boiling and it's cooked. So it just, it seems like, well, it's not such a huge number, but if it doesn't stop, if the water is level enough, then at one point it's almost, it almost seems like it's a matter of principle over individual line items. It's like at some point we got to say, well, just plain no. You know, I mean, because I personally, I'm fortunate to not be, I'm not in dire straits by $200 increase in my taxes for the school of the year, but a lot of people, a lot of people are, a lot of people don't.
That's a lot of money.
And like you said, principle of the matter, you're paying the money, but what services have increased, for you or your community members? What are you getting for your dollar?
It's been good for the teachers and the administrators, and God bless the teachers. I don't mean to. Everybody should get a good living, but it just seems imprudent that you can approve contracts that continue to put additional load on budgets without. In those cases, there isn't even really a popular vote on that. That's what was curious. I was the only non-board person at that meeting last night. But what I did hear is that if one was very concerned about optics. Optics is a big word. And so if more than one district that doesn't get their budget approved, and if then 2/3 of the school or of the board members present at the meeting vote to open it up, they would review the OSSU budget. So my recommendation is every town should reject.
To get the OSSU to pay attention to their budget.
Yeah.
Because that's the only recourse the public has at the SU level.
Right. Because and it was curious that it was it was a unanimous vote in favor. No, there was a gentleman from Hazen.
I say there was one meeting I watched on Zoom, an SU meeting, and anytime there was talk about cuts or reductions or anything, the party line was, we're not interested in discussing that at this time. Nobody was willing to review any of that.
Yeah, I worked for the great state of California for a number of years, and I went on furlough for years. That just for budget cuts, we got paid for 4 days out of 5. Looking at the day off, that was not bad. Seems like it's other than it's not a very good tax model or a business model to simply keep increasing taxes. But anyway, thank you guys for your good work. And certainly take it seriously and do very thorough job.
See the road status, the road mileage thing.
We'll have, Kurt's.
Thank you, folks. Thank you.
Okay, because you know more about what's going on. Unfortunately, once again, I will not be able to make the meeting tonight due to the doctor's appointment and drive time. I appreciate it if you could convey the report below. There may and should be questions. I'm happy to field any during the week, and we'll make an extra effort to be at the next meeting, which with any luck will be the last. DR 4720 report, the Town Hall, Fraser Road and Manley Road projects have all advanced to the CRC for final approval. This completes all projects for DR, so it'd be the flood of 23. Once approved, we will move on to the Cat Z reporting. That's the administrative cost. That's the final step.
Town hall estimate was reduced by the municipal insurance allocation for flood zone reimbursement. There is also a correction coming for Fraser and associated roads due to FEMA projected costs documented from 3 PGMs ago, in which the roads were consolidated improperly with duplicates. We now anticipate the overall award will be at 2 million for flood of 23.
For my report, Michael and I met with Sustainable Vermont just to get a general estimate for installing solar panels on the roof. He gave us a number. He gave me a name and a number for an engineer that we can get in here, and that's what Michael was referring to a little bit earlier, to do an assessment of the weight that the trusses can handle and give us a better idea about what process, what type of insulation to get up there and when to do that. I think that we should do the insulation first and then put on the panels. And so I've got to call into this guy. But before I booked that, I just need to know that we can pay for it. Because I don't think it's coming from.
It's on the line for them.
Do you have an estimate?
No, I just haven't even talked to the guy yet.
Oh.
There's
a letter today,
Those panels weigh.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I know they're not very heavy.
No, the 2018 building code says that you gotta build a roof for an 80 pound per square foot snow load in order to meet insurance requirements in this state. And as long as your roof will support that, it will support panels.
Right.
With the age of this building being the 70s, I've got to believe it'll be okay. But somebody's got to stamp it before. What he had mentioned at the meeting was to do the work, there needs to be a building permit, and because it's a commercial building, that needs to have an engineering report.
A building permit from the state, you mean, because
Yep.
it's a public building?
Yep, to do the
Okay.
solar. And that's only for the solar. We can do the other things.
Mhm.
My understanding is we can do the other things without that, but to do the solar.
Yeah,
We discussed battery placements and keeping things above floodplains and returns on investments on batteries and how we could have the battery and the generator at the same, wired in the same way, so it wouldn't be one or the other.
And maybe we would have to take it to the box, move the box across the street, right?
Yeah, so he was talking about net metering. Hardwick Electric's rules around net metering state that the meter has to, the generation meter has to be co-located with the billing meter, which is across the street on a pole over there.
yeah, that's, yeah.
Depending on what the expense would be, for wire and all those other things, he thought that we might be able to make a case to let Hardwick Electric put up the net meter on the face of the building. They may grant us some leniency there, given that we are the town and that both meters would be accessible, viewable by the road.
I don't fully understand why we would do net metering if we have battery.
If we generate more than batteries could use. Yeah, and maybe we wouldn't, I'm not sure. The other thing too is Hardwick Electric may allow us, if they insist that the meters have to be together, maybe they would let us put them both over here in order to save us the cost of having to dig across the road. But it's not paved and the expense would be small anyway, especially because we own an excavator. So. But that's where we stand with that, with the MARP grant.
That's far.
So you're asking us for permission to hire an engineer?
No, I will ask next
Oh.
once I get a quote, yeah,
Oh.
but I just wanted to make sure before we proceed now, do we want to wait until July? Or do we feel like, I feel like we should get going now
Yeah.
with it? I do. Because the grant is like, what, 2.5 years, but I just don't want to be.
Yeah.
It could take a year to get these things scheduled depending on how far out they are, so. So Dylan and I have been making good progress. We've already completed the full culvert assessment. I just now have to enter all the information into the database. Dylan's begun entering all of the ditching information, so he's taken the forms that we've generated and he started to enter the information. And he and I started talking about planning for the spring, summer, fall projects that will be based on the information that we also get entered. So, but we're outlining projects that we know that need to be done, and then trying to figure out a way to coordinate the forms. You know, so what is the best way for him to assess what needs to be done and move it through the calendar if it doesn't happen one day. So we're working on that. I have created the advertising for the At the Ready. It's at the paper. It will come out tomorrow for the At the Ready contractors, and then all the other adverts I put out tomorrow so that they all come out at the same time. And so we have a deadline. I think it's February 3rd, so that by the 5th, the board can vote for that they can approve the qualifications. I have been entering invoices for the materials and contractors into the FEMA 24 sheets. I'm through about 4 files now. I still have to do the timesheets, but I'll work on those once I get all the invoices entered. Michael picked up the rail trail kiosk roof that we're going to use for the new kiosk if we get the grant, and it's now at the town garage. I think we talked about contacting Jeff to get us the snow guard quote. And then just wanted to point out that the town report, we need to have that to the printer by the 22nd, and then it comes back to us on the 29th, and we have until the 30th to do the final report. And then on February 13th, the reports go out to the postal service. That's what I have. And then we just want to, moving on, we want to award the winter sand RFP, which I put in front of you guys. I think the gravel construction is still our best bet. It's definitely the cheapest. And if you read the sand to rock ratio, these were the responses that we got back from each of the bidders. So we were asking for the sieve reports, and Gravel's had one that was about 6 years old, and the others don't really have sieve reports, so they can just give us estimates. Still bang for the buck, I would recommend that we award it to Gravel for the $38,750 for the next 3 years, and then Dylan would prefer to add his own gravel to that. So that was in the budget for both costs. I noted at the bottom of the RFPs were assessed based on price, both with delivery and without being town pickup, as well as the quality of the mixture.
So the bid is actually $38,750 for
Correct.
gravels.
Yes.
which should be in the line item. And then if Dylan's gonna add this extra stone, it should be in his gravel line item. Yeah. Too confusing, like I said. That's what the contract is gonna say, that you should have a contract with them, or that slip that the bid, isn't there something we sign? Usually they,
Probably said this one, yeah.
yeah, well, tell them we want one.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
not gonna do a full-on contract. 'cause it's-
no, usually they give you the bid price, the years, and then the board can sign off on it. So we have a motion to accept, gravel construction for, our 25-27 sand supply, winter sand supply. We have a motion to accept Salvis.
I'm salty about it, but I'll make the motion. I'm only salty because the SIP spec was 6 years old and it was from the other side of the pit, and I'm unhappy with.
I don't know what any of that means.
It means that they need to update their specs and they need to sell us a winter road sand product that has a lower silt content to help us with our mud seasons. They need to sell us the same product that they're selling to everyone else instead
And
of,
they're not.
in my opinion, is uneducated and as little as it's worth. In my opinion, no, we didn't get the same quality product that we had bought from them previously. And we don't get the same, we didn't this year get the same quality product that we had gotten, or the other towns had gotten.
Have we had a discussion with them about that?
I've talked with Dylan. Dylan thinks I'm out to lunch. You asked for SIP specs. I think that you made it fairly clear that I was unhappy. I mean, I don't know what I was mentioned by name, but no, I didn't approach the same person.
But none of the other suppliers have specs.
No, they don't. But driving on the roads that they supply the sand for, the sand is, there's a lower silt content and the sand actually has attraction value to it and doesn't blow away when you drive over it.
But you're paying more.
You are paying substantially more for it, and the other cost of the other suppliers is the trucking. I mean, Salvis is only a little bit further down the road, but their sand pile is 2 miles in the woods. You know, you turn right into the pit and then it's 2 miles on a pit road. That'll eat a truck. You know, it would cost us way more. I'm sad to see that there weren't a couple other local suppliers out here bidding on things, but I understand that small town politics lead to that. I'm gonna shorten my motion. I think that we should award gravel construction the sand contract. I think that we should not pay the additional $1.50 a yard for the 5% added stone. So the contract amount would be $38,750 for the next round of winter sand.
Anybody want to second that?
Second that.
Any further discussion on that? Comments?
So Gravels will not update their,
That's $250 update to get a new SIP report, but none of the other companies had a SIP report, so.
They didn't flat refuse, but they wouldn't have been ready by this meeting, even if they had.
yeah, it's hard to tell when you're just digging out of the bank what you're getting.
And honestly, even the spec that they had from 6 years ago it was still within the range, but it had a fairly high silt content.
I'm surprised Grimes didn't.
They never have.
Small town politics at play.
So how'd you upset them?
The grievance, I think, is before my time. The only things I know are all hearsay, so. I don't know.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Flat iron we've dealt with, I updated the warning, I can send it, when we get a couple more appropriations, I can send it out, but I have, added in the Lamoille County Sheriff's Department as an article as requested, and I've added at the end to transact any other non-binding business. Other than that, it's no different, than what we looked at. We're waiting for 3 more appropriations. And then when we finalize the budget, we can plug in the amounts in here. Like Michelle said, she needs to get it to the printer by January 22nd. So that means the warning and the budget will need to be finalized and signed. Hopefully at our meeting on the 15th, we can finalize it and then people can come in and sign off, once a clean copy is available. If that will work. The last thing is, I just wanted to go over some updates on both the wastewater committee and the schoolhouse committee. So the wastewater committee has been working, on setting up an ordinance, which is required, so you can, charge fees and so forth. They have a contractor that's worked on, South Burlington, Waitsfield, a number of she's working on Killington's too now, so, she's been helping us with that ordinance. We've agreed that it would be best to set up a wastewater commissioners. The state statute allows us, they call it sewer commissioners. It'll either be the select board or we can have wastewater commissioners who will oversee this in the future.
Or a combination of like 2 people on
Well,
the select
yeah.
board and then 3 or so users on there. type of
That's
thing.
what, we set it up for, 2 select board members and, 3 other members who will, basically run the system. Run the system means, set a budget, set the annual fees, that sort of things.
Who were the other 3? I'm sorry, it's 2 select board members and 3 just, at large.
Could be
Yeah, it
users.
would be,
3.
it'd be best if they were users, but it doesn't say they have to be users.
And they would be the sewer commissioners? Is that the title?
Well, we didn't like sewer, so we made it wastewater commissioners. I do have bylaws I can send out. So it'd be kind of like the library trustees or, kind of oversee it, but ultimately the select board is in charge. So that'll be coming out, and the ordinance, they want to first hold a workshop with the select board to be able to go over the ordinance with you, because it's gonna take a while and not do it in, the select board meeting. It will be open to the public, but, the consultant, lives in San Diego, but she's gonna fly out to help you with it. They were wondering if Monday, January 27th at 5 o'clock would work. If not, would you have another date?
It's 8 AM.
It's
No.
Monday, January 7th.
27th
27th.
at 5 PM. Their thought was that we would have a workshop with the select board, it would be open to the public, we go through the ordinance so you can understand it, because it's something the board will have to adopt. And then on the February 5th meeting, it'd be the first time it would be read aloud during, and be on the agenda. And then we'd have to follow state statute in terms of adopting it, noticing it in the paper and so forth. At that meeting also, Michelle, the engineer's ready to present a 30% design.
February 5th.
So just be on the agenda that, hopefully that there will read the ordinance. We won't be adopting it until the next meeting. And, we'll have 30% design. The other thing is the, schoolhouse, they are, they have created the trust. There's, they're gonna start, community engagement, even though they know what they kind of like what to do with the building, they're still gonna hold these community engagement groups to get feedback from the community on what they might like to see in there before the final decision. The first one's gonna be on January 25th here, just with the people on the street. And then they'll have a bigger one for more community members. But I was asked for applying for 2 grants, and I apologize because I didn't write them down. They're applying for 2 grants and want permission from the select board to do that. It's Vermont Community Development grant, and it has to do with a grant for ADA accessibility for $250,000. $275,000 that they're applying for. And they're just asking for permission to do that.
Sorry, what is the amount? 275?
And I believe it's 275. I left my notes at home, I'm afraid.
Or just ADA improvements in the schoolhouse?
Yeah, so those ADA improvements are the doors and stuff, but they said that because the floor is buckled, it will qualify. So it's a matter of, dealing with the drainage underneath and leveling the floor.
You're gonna have to put in an outside ramp,
Yes,
which they thought would be on,
no, in the back.
right, it's on the back, but it's
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
further side. Opposite the, where you want to put their parking lot. So
Considering it probably wasn't very ADA accessible anyways when it started, so.
yeah,
Did I ask for permission to apply for the Vermont Housing Conservation Board? 100,000? They wanted to apply for that grant also.
Housing conservation, did you say?
Yeah, Vermont Housing Conservation Board, and that has to do with that's for 100,000. To start building the funding stack for renovations. Because it's a historic building, historic district. It's not designated for anything other than starting building the funding stack for,
Stack, I thought you said staff.
stack for it.
What does that mean, a funding stack?
Well, like the wastewater has a funding stack, we have ARPA, we have Northern Borders, it's, you start stacking, we have a budget of $1 million. They gave us some money, we have to grant money, and then we have to fundraise some. All those come into play with the overall cost.
You need motions on both of these?
Yeah, because the town still owns the buildings. We have to have permission to be able to apply for them.
I'll make a motion that they should both apply, or they should apply for both.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Is there a match component that we would be responsible for?
No, not from the town.
Perfect.
I'm keeping everything.
Excellent.
All those in favor? Opposed? So carried. I mean, there might be some costs, like when we get ready for a lease or something, legal fees, but no. Now, how much is for?
Just, be done with your updates.
Yes,
One more thing for the radar for next meeting, the planning commission will be asking for permission to apply for a grant that has a 10% match. The idea is to get a generalized overall plan of what the downtown district is gonna look like, School Street, Main Street, as far as walking and things like that. So basically taking the walk audit that was done on School Street, the walk audit that was done on Main Street a while ago,
yeah,
and trying to create a cohesive plan.
I think that's important because we kind of been just piecemealing everything, and at some point it just isn't gonna jive.
And according to LCPC, it's a having that plan in place is a prerequisite for some other grant funding that would actually allow us to do the work. So
It's for biking and pedestrian?
biking, pedestrian, and I think it's mostly just overall, downtown planning. I do not know what the name of the grant is. I didn't
It's a municipal planning grant.
something
And so,
better connections.
Better
right?
connection.
Yeah.
what kind of match you looking for?
It's 10%
Yeah,
of the award amount. The funding rounds, don't quote me here, we'll have more information next meeting. Funding rounds are usually around 200,000. The last grant that they did, they dispersed that money to 3 different projects, so our award would be looking at around 16. So our match would be, what, $6 grand? Please.
so we did set aside some money.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just thinking whether it needed to go in the budget, and then I was thinking, oh no, we set aside some money.
This is the asbestos contract, asbestos removal, is for, signature signatures on both, and then
This is yours. Or you can,
Can I take?
Melinda has to sign this too.
So I guess my question, Mike, is
And so after it comes back,
you're not thinking of putting in sidewalks?
At this point, we're not thinking about
when
anything.
that comes back,
Because-
Michelle,
From my
Yeah.
understanding,
make sure Melinda
state
records
owns
it in the.
just about to everyone's
I need
doorstep.
that guy's.
You would have to get a lot of paperwork done.
This is similar to the boundary thing that we have to do.
And then you're talking maintenance.
Well, and that's
This is
the
an
biggest,
annual thing,
that's the biggest thing.
And if we.
You have to hire a separate, just like doing hard with
Of our roads.
equipment, separate person, more sand, liability.
Right, and
What
then you have to do
Burlington
the
does,
survey, you have to include the.
It's what's in front of your,
Usually hire a lawyer.
you're liable for it.
The report,
Fire,
the survey.
trying to chill out a fire hydrant if you have it in front of your yard too.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
But the biggest,
Not to.
my understanding from the planning commission, the biggest thing right now is in order for us to pursue funding to do anything
$500.
that might be on this
I
plan,
said, okay.
all or a
then we
portion
save
of,
$100.
we have to have this plan.
Bump things to class four.
It's mostly,
Well, we
it
lose
sounded
money.
like it was a
We don't
gateway
get
to
paid
more
for
funding
class
opportunities.
At all.
The only way that we could apply for the other funding to do any of it would be to get the master plan done.
You just sent me today.
That's.
That, and because we have
Or something.
62,000 little pieces of things here and here, I think it'd be
Yeah.
wonderful to have, you know, this is what we want this to look like. If that makes any sense, but as far as thinking about installing sidewalks, we're not there yet.
I guess my whole problem with the thing is I don't think a lot of it's being done more than 5 people
Looking warm.
making this decision on things.
Oh,
How do you mean?
the germ.
I think it should be more of a community decision on what's going to happen. Rather than 5 people have a, I don't want to use the term, a dream.
In the spirit of Richard, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Nay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
They're late. We're gonna have to start earlier.
What, 2?
I-
Did I tell you it's like dinner time?
Really?